Yo, Oddly Rival, and everyone else, welcome back. Today we'll be continuing the story of Nightglows of the Tokyo Afterschool Summers. So let's drop right into it. So we are going to be continuing with episodes 4 as well as the beginning of episode 5 for today. This will be stream 3 of it, and I'll be finishing off with stream 4 the day after, so tomorrow. So yeah, we'll continue with episode 4, but as it loads, as it is bound to, I'll give a quick recap of what we experienced before. I had some cereal before the stream began. I don't think that's a good idea. I think the milk is doing a number to my voice. I just hope we don't begin the stream with another nightgown yelling with a very hoarse, shrill kind of laugh. So, where we last left off, we had recruited Nomad into our operation, who had been a deserter from their organization previously, due to his, his exhaustion or his tiredness with witnessing his fellow pilots of the Nightglows end up dead, I guess. He was not a big fan of essentially being the only survivor all the time. He had a kind of a survivorship guilt, and it was implied that his power would get stronger over time with every single new data point of the pilots operating the Nightglows. His contribution was that of testing the rule extension system that the Nightglow ships use. Yo, Prisma, welcome. Hi, are arrested. No, how are you? I'm doing okay. It's just usual days, and I got something planned right after with some friends, so it should be a somewhat productive day. Well, not really productive, but doing something at least. But yeah, so they finally convinced Nomad to rejoin. I'm not exactly sure how they convinced him to rejoin, but he rejoined. We just kind of talked about that stuff. And he effectively then piloted the actual main wall of time in order to, with our goal of reaching their nest, the main enemies, we actually captured one of their enemy commanders by using a lightspeed operation with a bait and switch kind of task. To Nomad operating the wall of time so that it would collide head-on with the enemy commander, and after defeating him in person, we managed to break free of the enemy commander's night-gowned black goop, which was presumably some sort of mind control thing, or I don't know. But essentially it's Kazuga who's the enemy commander, so we'll see what's going on with him. He seems to be alright. Monotony. To be trapped in an endless, inescapable state of boredom, where time simply passes by at a gradually increasing rate. Wish you a good time. Thank you. I already know all there is to know. I've already seen all there is to see. I've already done all that could be done in this racing world. Is this Nodens? I don't know enough about Nodens to confirm if it's Nodens or not. Oh my god, is that the beginning music? That's funny. Everything is always the same. Nothing new ever happens. Just goes on repeating and repeating in the same old boring pattern, forever and ever. Is this a reference to the loop system? Even death. Certainly the first time one experiences it, it strikes the heart with an intense feeling of pain and loss. Even the second time, one would suffer the same effect. Even the third, the 10th. But the 1000th time? The 10,000th? The millionth? It barely even registers anymore. I feel like I have a hair somewhere just against my skin. It's kind of irritating me. It's like staring into a light and letting your mind drift as the image burns into your retinas. Eventually, it's just there, and you learn to look past it. You learn to ignore it. Any world of such finite possibilities is destined to eventually lose its spark, becoming void of all emotionality as everything simply takes the form of pure information. Pure data. And being subject to such overwhelming monotony day in and day out inevitably causes one's heart to wither away. Why? How? How is it that others are able to endure such endless banality? Is this how it will all end for us? Tired from our all-knowing, there should be no consent. We sit around and simply wait for the world's tepid extinction. And to think, if little old me is suffering this much, then what must it be like for a true omnipotent being? What an existential nightmare that must be. Little old you. Is it not Odin's? I have no idea. Nightglows of the Starlit Sky, Episode 4. That is my role to fulfill. Yeah, there's that sloth. And, let's flip into Saga. The former rulers are those individuals who hold in their hands dominion over all the stars and planets throughout the universe, be they stars of fire or earth. At any given time, in any given place, these fearful beings could make their existences known. There is no safe house where one can escape their reach. Their reign created a universe of inescapable cosmic fear from which no being can ever truly be saved. I think tap is a joke on tapping your screen like when lose you're in a story. I'm not sure if it goes that far, but sure. Such is the world of the Old Ones, which began in chaos, to which an end of eternal silence has been promised. The fleeting bustle of life is to finally dissipate, along with all hopes, dreams, wishes, and desires, leaving only a pure, serene stillness in its wake. Everything will just freeze over and cease. Life is to be replaced with the endless stasis of death. There is no avoiding this ultimate fate. It is absolute and inevitable. It has been called by some the final singularity, and by others the superposition of entropy. This is why the Old Ones have been disqualified from the game that's transpiring in Tokyo. Oh, okay, so we're getting a reference. Okay, so Valentine Fantasy hinted at it, but this is just outright an extreme spoiler for anyone who hasn't completed the story up to this, chapter 8. So, yeah, a bit late, but be sure to finish up to chapter 8 if you're watching this playthrough. But yeah, nice to know we're getting more information on this now. Their world is destined to be cut short by the dense and impassable wall of time. Nothing from the world of the Old Ones would be able to cross over into the contemporary world of Tokyo, nor into whatever future identity may potentially await it. Despite being the former rulers who homogenized all of space, or perhaps it's because of that very fact that time will inevitably bring with it the promised heat death of the universe. That dense wall of time keeps the Old Ones from ever moving beyond the past, yet it also prevents them from ever returning to it. They can only march inexorably towards obliteration. To the Old Ones, Tokyo has always been an idealized view of the future, in which they are not permitted to interfere. Yet in their world, there exists one who oversaw the world of water, known as Earth. His name is Nodens, and he was once known as a wise and experienced king with dusty white hair and a beard to match. But the other former rulers chased him away from his throne on Earth into a deep ravine. Unrelenting in his wisdom, however, Odin's persevered. He hid away in a deep and narrow abyss, knowing that all anger and grief are fleeting and will be silenced in time. He began to think of how nice it would be to occasionally invite company to come down and visit him. He toyed with this thought over and over until the day of reckoning. That time of great tragedy finally arrived. Like the switch of a light, the once wise king succumbed to a devastating madness. His mind became completely possessed by a blinding rage he'd not known for ages. Nodens looked up and saw the god of the old ones. Or no, the being who used to be their god, maniacally laugh as if broken. Oh, that was Azathos laughing. Never mind. A being once omnipotent and omniscient, now still omnipotent but completely ignorant. Azathos was the name of this old god. He's the being who created the old ones and represents the will of the entire world. In his madness, he ends the world again and again, always searching for a new end he's never seen before. Ooh. It was Azathos who had created the universe, who had created even Nodens. Yet he was also one of the beings who chased Nodens into the agate castle. Nodens must hold nothing but contempt for his creator, for the supposed higher being had done nothing but toy with him for all of his existence. Yet in the end, everything, even contempt, had been completely eradicated. And having observed that destruction, Nodens was overwhelmed by a surge of emotion from within himself. He could not allow this to continue. He must find a way to create a future for this world. However, at the same time, the wise Nodens knew of the fate that's destined to befall the old ones. He knew it, and still knows it all too well. He knew that the raging anger which burns inside him will ultimately be silenced within this perpetual loop. So he decided to embrace this wild passion of his. No longer will he shy from the maddening curtain of darkness. Instead, he will make it his own. He will create a new self to take revenge on the past and forge ahead into the future. Yo, Zenu, we're actually getting quite a long-ish explanation right now. This is episode 4, part 1, so just the first part of the old ones and why they have been disqualified from the game from the very beginning, or were destined to never win at the very least. The fate of how their world leads to the inevitable march towards death, and how that heat death is sort of what prevents them from seeing a future, including the future of Tokyo post game. At least that's the implication, which is why, as the world of no future and no hope, there's not really, a future for the old ones to win either. And now we're looking at Nodens' history in how he was created by Azathos, but was also chased away by Azathos into the agate castle. And it seems that Nodens was actually a wise king of a sort, but and was also the old ones designated to Earth, so the planet of water, as they call it. And now he seems to have, contempt to Azathos and everyone who chased him aside. The fear of death aside, he's grown numb over it for the thousands of presumable loops or eons or whatever experience of time he's felt. And now he's sort of indulging into just accepting the darkness and weaponizing it. At least that's the implication, so that he can actually forge a future for the old ones. At least that's where it seems to be headed with this exposition. He will create a new self to take revenge on the past and forge ahead into the future. So the implication seems to be this entire plan that's going on with Nodens killing all of Tokyo, destroying it, might have to do with actually forging a future for the old ones. That's kind of fucked up and really sad in a way. It's into this new self he awakes, deep in his castle. Everything he knew before now seems like some distant, bygone dream. Yeah! Did we nod off? He laughs a laugh of madness, much like that of his creator, as his thoughts. Not quite like his master, but sure. Yes, he is taking after his creator, no doubt about it. But the wise king quickly dismisses his thought from his head. After all, he had simply accepted what was bequeathed unto him. Had he not been overcome with that madness, he wouldn't have been able to rise to the top of that world of insanity. If he should notice his senses cooling down or being made aware that his emotions are softening, he would at once do all he could to ignite them again. Yeah, he seems to be indulging himself in the madness of these infinite loops and the desperation of the old ones and their destined fate to constant doom.
Yes. Wait. Hey, where's Kasuga? Who can tell me where that imbecile might have gone off to?
One bizarre, tall humanoid figure approaches the inquiring king. Old ones have no future, and Utopia is in the future and flees from the past. Something like that. I don't think Utopia is in this game anymore. It was like some in-data thing, but I'm not entirely sure if that's actually considered a world or a faction at this point. But if you mean like the future of Tokyo, then yeah, that would be in the future, and Old Ones does not have that. Lovecraftian lore, Nodens was an enemy of the Old Ones. Oh, was he? I didn't realize that. If you have any more important lore details, I'd love to hear more about them. Because, you know, the game kind of explains a lot, but also doesn't explain enough for the context of their mythological basis. So if you have any more tidbits about that or anything else, let me know. Its entire face is covered by a deep, dark blackness like night. So dark as to obscure whatever detail could be etched into that mask. It begins to emit a light, which bears the information it had previously acquired. In the form of a melted tar-like substance that encompasses its entirety.
So, Kusuga has been captured. How quaint. Oh, look at him whimper like a coward. Surely the height of entertainment. What a piece of work. We can't wait to see if your last falls victim to the same fate. Oh, if that happens, it won't be long before the lot discovers our whereabouts. We expect it to be, 3 days. Oh, just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Until we have our final victory.
The laughter won't stop. Nothing in the universe can make it stop. He just laughs and laughs, as if he's hoping that by doing so, the silence slowly descending upon the world will somehow overlook him. It's really sad. In a way, he's accepting his madness and his anger as a substitute for the deathly silence of the destiny of the universe of just constantly, heat, death, and nothingness. Yeah, my neighbors hate me, I'm sure. Let's continue. Alright! Everyone's here. So, let me explain what's going on. First, I'll start with the conclusion. I finally discovered the nature of the Shadowbuggers.
Already? It's only been a few days, though. That's amazing. Good God, he's really on a roll lately. He's a prime example of humanity's capacity for intellectual reasoning.
You're kind of overstating things, I think. All I'm doing is putting pieces of puzzle together as we find them.
Besides,
there's been research and theories in force for some time now. It's just that we can corroborate some of them now. And all of that is on Kasuga, who was very cooperative through it all. Thanks for being a mole, man. Seriously.
Oh, it's nothing really. But do go on. I like being praised.
I like how they I like the subtle gestures in this game when they animate them. Like, I know the animations sometimes are lacking and they don't have too much expressions, but as a result, when they do it, it's very noticeable.
I must be going out of my mind here. Is this really the same ruthless commander we were fighting tooth and nail? Well, he was compliant during the initial interrogation too. And they said he kept looking around like a kid in a toy store. Maybe he was on someone else's. He was under someone else's control before. That might explain this drastic change in behavior.
In regards to Shadowbuggers, I wanted to talk about their ability to absorb and regenerate. Or, to choose a more apt term, let's call it a kind of inviolability. They're impervious to interference or alteration. Turns out, this is because they belong to an entirely separate axis of time.
Axis of time? Oh, what happens if that's different? Why's that so special? Ew, what the heck? How can someone who led an army of Shadowbuggers react like this is all new to him?
Well, can't use rules despite there being a lot we don't know about them. This could be something similar.
Basically, we all exist in the present, and as time marches on, the present gets filed away as experiences and memories. Reality as we perceive it quickly becomes part of our past, and the past is seen as fixed and immutable. The Shadowbuggers are different though. Their past, which should be over and done with, is part of their present reality.
That's a hint at the old one's general sort of a system, which is, you know, the past is the only thing they really cling to, and so they kind of perpetually experience it as they have no future. They just mentioned that earlier in the episode.
Now, history is just data, so we can call up images or videos of the past too. But for the buggers, it's more than that. We began to realize that giving tangible form to data could be a rule that somebody possesses. It would stand to reason.
Tangible form to data. So essentially someone is making it so they are reproducing physical manifestations of their memories?
But that's all just conjecture, see. The real crux is how this allows the buggers to show up in seemingly infinite droves.
Wait, so for reinforcements, they call them their past selves? How does that work? Are they clones?
Well, have you ever heard of the term space of possibility? It's related to the Many Worlds series.
Oh no, we're going down the Uchikoshi timeline.
Oh! I have! I read about it in a novella I found at the library.
When did you read that? When do you have time to go to the library?
It's said that the existence is like a game with all these different routes, and like, each route has a different version of being in it.
Maybe there was an existence of Kasuga before Nodens in this timeline. That was, you know, just a regular guy. I don't know. It seems like he's seeing us for the first time too, though, as in humans and other people.
Yeah, I've got a strong urge to correct a lot of that, but let's just say that's good enough interpretation for now.
Could have gone holding back the urge to mansplain.
Vanilla? Is that a chocolate and hazelnut spread?
That's Nutella.
I'm not sure how someone learns about space-time from that. The word is derived from a novel and refers to a short work of fiction, according to my cultural database.
When did R19 join this Whisper tea party?
I don't usually hear about fiction helping teach practical information like this, though. Guess I should read more.
Think of it this way. Say you defeated an opponent. Totally obliterated. Yet its existence remains. Know why?
Because the past exists.
Because according to Many Worlds series, there are an infinite number of parallel universes where it wasn't defeated. Our enemy has found a way to tap into the alternate timelines and gain a quantitative advantage over humanity. They can access data from many pasts and somehow bring it into present, giving it physical form. So, even if a unit has been defeated in the present, they can just endlessly reproduce it, running them damn near invincible.
And that's why the Night Field is so effective against them. I see.
Precisely. The denial field technology creates a battle zone, which blocks outside interference. If you entrap the shadowbuggers in that field, they're cut off from the myriad of past worlds they rely upon in combat.
But that also means we're good only as long as the denial field is active. Once it's gone, they can just regenerate all the same.
So it doesn't matter how badly we beat them down. They'll just keep coming back to fight us ad infinitum.
You're using fancy terms, Nomad. And that's why I've been perpetually retreating this whole war long. Fortunately, we have an ace in the hole. How's the research progressing on Arathan's rule?
Analyzing his rule is like trying to scratch away a brick wall. We don't have the right tools for the job. Regardless, even if I don't understand it, that doesn't mean I don't know how to make good use of it.
You know, there's actually some modern technologies like that where we actually use it on people, but we don't know how they work exactly. Like, for example, as a very common technology, general anesthesia, the thing that puts you to sleep when you are actually conducted with surgery and have your teeth removed or your limbs replaced or something like that. They don't know the mechanism of general anesthesia exactly. They just know it works.
One thing I can say is that his rule allows him to rend the bond between one thing and another. Theoretically speaking, there's no rational reason the Shadowbuggers should be able to exist in our timeline. Which means the bond tying their past to our present might be something Arathan could sever.
So I guess we're just severing their system of rules, of their ability to recreate the past in the present. At least in our usual timeline sense of things, that's normally an impossibility. And Kurgani is suggesting that we're cutting, that forced imposition of their rules into our regular rule set of physics.
That's potentially why even when we cut the denial field before, the enemies he defeated didn't regenerate. Hey, what's with all uncertainty? Potentially this, might be that, theoretically speaking. This is all for sure, ain't it?
Our general situation is uncertain. Have you been able to weigh our odds of victory in light of this new information? I've already made calculations to that end, yes. Kusuga, would you tell us all again what you said during your questioning?
Wait. Huh? You're talking to me? Do you mean what I said about the leader of those bug things? Nodens?
Nodens? Oh, so he was a conscious string appeared. So the Shadowbuggers do have a boss. I knew someone was pulling the strings. What do you know about him, Kusuga? Spill the beans!
Well, in part of the space where we hung out, I could tell he was, super smart. Which isn't to say I'm not. I can count real good, too, if I can't use my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 6.
You don't have to go over that part again. Could you please just talk about their home base and such? And please be concise. With his, exasperation.
This guy can't even rustle a commander's feathers. He's the gift that keeps on giving.
Neil is just so flabbergasted by his own stupidity and naivete that he doesn't know what to do.
I've hardly ever seen you get perturbed, Commander. You're acting just like a human would. It's so cute. He lives in the Dreamlands in a super duper ultra big place called the Agate Castle. And I mean, that's always in plain view, huge. All you have to do is think about going there and you'll find it.
So you can make it appear by thinking. Can't be that easy, can it, Commander? Oh, wait, all we have to do is think about it? Seriously? I need to review this. Think about going there and you'll find it, I see. He's actually right on the money. R19, bring up the info from our database. Acknowledged. Displaying image data now. R19 projects into the center of the room a hologram of an enormous castle floating in space. So they already found location of it then. Look, we ain't got time for jokes. You expect us to believe something like that can possibly exist? I agree with Nomad. This can't be real. There's no way we would have missed something that big all this time. This projection isn't theoretical, and Cthulhu's description isn't inaccurate or delusional in any way.
See? I told you I wasn't lying.
We captured this image using our latest optical observation equipment. What you see is 99.98% accurate reconstruction. The best I can say is that we didn't see this before because it didn't exist before. At some point, it simply came into being. It seems like that the enemy has simply chosen now to reveal it to us. Or perhaps, like Cthulhu insinuated, it came into being precisely because we've only just now specifically sought it out.
And check it out. Check this. According to my data, the elements that make up this castle are 99.98% match for the Shadowbuggers themselves.
Whoa. So you're saying this impossible building is basically made out of our enemies? Which places the size of their melty and, well, I don't think I can even quantify it. It's literally unimaginable. This is total madness. A speck of dust by comparison. So yeah, this Nodens fella isn't one to be underestimated, to put it lightly.
The thing is, I don't remember him being all that strong.
But he is the leader of those bug things.
They're like his family.
So I guess he must be pretty tough.
I don't think those bug things are all that strong either, though, are they? At least, I don't remember it that way.
Never mind that I just killed Kaylin in the first episode. Interesting. So there is a discrepancy between our experience with the creatures and your memory of them. That feels like it may be a significant intel. I want everyone to keep it in the back of their minds. Further examination of the sample data shows that the castle is perpetually exhibiting some form of rule. We cannot ascertain the nature of this rule, but all signs indicate its source is the being named Nodens himself. Okay, so putting all of this info together, the long and short of it is, Nodens is the big bad, and we gotta take him out. Well, that does seem to be where all signs are pointing. This Nodens is at the heart of this whole tragic war. If we could take him out, or even just capture him, that alone might curb the Shadowbugger's aggression. You know what this is reminding me of? You know, Attack on Titan. No manga spoilers, please, but I'm currently on the anime. There's this plot point where essentially, this what subspecies of human has the power of mass destruction, but they are kind of sequestered and destined for, dying out because the rest of the world hates them for their scary powers. And, they've been told to just sort of accept their fate, and some of them even believe that because they are such a danger to the world. But the main character actually wants to live. And so his solution for that was actually to, the absurd and sad reality is, the truth is he needs to kill the rest of the world and, actually confirm their fears for what monsters they are. And I'm kind of reminded of that with this here, in terms of Nodens, in his desperate attempt to actually give a future to the old ones, after countlessly losing a predetermined defeat, like countless amounts of times, has now decided to just slaughter everyone for the sake of their own future. So it's really sad in that way.
It's so simple. Why didn't we think of that? Oh wait, we did, and it's not that easy. But thank you, Captain Obvious. I think there's some cause for optimism. I mean, we got ourselves at least a tiny sliver of hope here.
Members of the crew seem mostly pleased with this new development, as it is indeed a game plan, albeit seemingly impossible one. Duo, however, sports a sour face. He takes in a deep breath and addresses his newly inspired crew. It's true that this is the first time in the war when we've actually had enough intel to see the goalposts, as it were. But what we've learned today changes everything moving forward, and it's not going to make anything easier. We finally learned a way to end all of this. Our new goal must be to strip Nodens of his power. Whether it be by destroying him, capturing him, or even somehow reasoning with him, we must stop him in his tracks.
Strike down the beating heart of the Shadowbuggers, and the whole structure should fall. So we now enter the final phase of operation, Remembrance of Things Past. At our current cruising speed, it will take approximately 100 hours to reach the Agate Castle. During this time, I think it's fairly clear that we need to do what we need to do. I want options by the time we get there. Good ones. Okay, so just like Noden said, 3 days. This is our last operation. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all can bring to the table. Dismissed. Alright, let's do this, team. And the soldiers salute, as they are trained to do at the conclusion of any major briefing. Among them is Bertro. Flash is something of a mischievous grin instead.
My apologies, Commander, but it hasn't yet been made clear what we're supposed to do with this Kasuga character.
You know, your timing is impeccable if the goal is to get under my skin.
That's how you know I'm a machine built for war. War is all about pressing your opponent's buttons.
Did Commander Duo just scoff? It's like a rare spawn, isn't it? He truly can't stand Bertro, can he?
I thought we already talked about this. I want to join your ranks. I may not remember all the bad stuff I did, but I want to make up for it. That novella I read said that's what soldiers do. And so, I really want to ride one of those awesome space fighters. Shbang! Don't forget, Commander, we are at war here. You said yourself that we need all the good fighters we can get. Get any pictures? Get any pizza? What were you about to say? I want to know. You think you're dug your own hole with this one, Commander? You gotta use whatever resources you can in the military, right? If you're just gonna go to such great lengths to get the deserter like me back, you can't really say no to a reformed enemy, can ya? Oh, you're good with words. Are you my rival character? I bet you're my rival character. Doubtful, since I think you're the comic relief who has a moving death scene right before the end of the story. That's great. Hey! My character's not gonna get killed off! Where do you get that idea from?
Oh, for the love of... Alright, we can have him operate our spare ship. Nightglows, they have a spare ship. Okay, sure. But concerning your unconventional entry into the Force, your rank will have to be that of an informal warrant officer.
Wow! It sounded easy. Shouldn't there have been more drama or something?
I feel like there should have been, but we only have like one more episode after this left. Your insignia and pilot suit will be prepared and made available to you immediately. Best of luck out there. Welcome to the Force, Kasuga. We'll be counting on your support. Slowly clap, hoping others will follow.
Finally! Someone's being nice to me! I look forward to working with you all! Are we done here? I'd like to borrow our 3 pilots if that's okay.
Of course, this meeting is dismissed. I'll be going back to making my own preparations.
Alright then, let's go E3. We're going to run some checks on your ships. Oh, I get to see my trusty spaceship already! So cool!
Don't get too excited. Remember, as an officer in this regime, I'm your captain now. I call the shots. You got it?
Yes, sir! Roger that, Mr. Captain, sir! Is that good?
How about you just call me captain and leave it at that? You suddenly get the feeling that someone is staring at you. Duo. You look back to see Duo motioning you to approach him. He speaks to you in a low voice, barely louder than a whisper. I want you to make some time later and come see me. We need to talk. Ooh, intimidating. Understood, Commander. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll keep it on down low. It's probably important. Joe dismisses you to follow after your comrades.
Alright, everyone, let's go over all the adjustments we need to make before the final battle. Still feels weird to say those words. Can't believe we actually made it thus far. Sorry, as I was saying, adjustments! Specifically, some weapons designed with the Shadowbuggers in mind. Oh, whoa! These spaceships look so cool! Which one's mine? Which one's mine? Oh, yours is the one in back, number 3. I'll get started on customizing it to your role shortly. Huh? Customize? That's amazing! I can't believe I'll get my own custom tailor-made personalized spaceship! You know what? I like you. Your enthusiasm is infectious. Your role has an explosive power that should be able to destroy any kind of spacecraft under ordinary circumstances. So my plan is to infuse that into some specially made spread launchers that can unleash a wide volley of missiles anytime. Nice! That sounds sick! However, this will end up shortening your range of attack, so I'll have to upgrade your armor plating and suspension. Oh man, I can't wait to ride this baby. I'm gonna blow Nodens into smithereens in one fell swoop. So he's gonna be like a short-range explosive user? That's bizarre. Are you sure you're ready to fight? You're going against an old partner now. Did you not like him? Well, you see, I never really knew Nodens at all that well in the first place. I just heard he didn't get along with that Nyal dude, who I also can't stand. But even so, it seems suspicious. Oh, yeah. Well, since he's super smart, I don't feel like I can really trust him, you know? Besides, that punkin went and mess around with my head before all this, right? He's got some nerve! You have to make him and his goons pay for what they did to me. Oh, and, to you. Like to everybody. That's the spirit. I guess. Let's move on to the next ship, shall we? I didn't make too many changes to brakes. I improved the engine performance by 10% and added some flares and decoys for taunting purposes. Eesh, that sounds boring! Since you gave me some special mentions, you should have capped me here up with something cool like hypersonic beam. I'm quite alright with the alterations as they are. Kurigane always knows exactly what I need. So you'll be providing support then? Don't forget it, you said you have my back, which means I got front. You've come a long way, haven't you, rookie? Bet you'd be a great leader yourself. Am I missing something? Did I mess up your system somehow? No. It's just that compared to you two, the power of my role is pretty lacking. So in order to create more openings for you to attack, I'll have to devote myself to crowd control this time around. There's more to combat than just shooting, after all, and it's those less glamorous duties where I shine the best. Is that a hint at his original role in the main story, where he has the less glamorous duty of collecting the sacred artifacts of those who have been defeated from the game to, I guess, collect the memories? Not very glamorous indeed. Unless still important, supposedly. That sounds, cool, but somehow tragic at the same time? You're like the tragic hero type, an underdog to root for. Okay, now that just leaves a last ship. I had a pretty tough time with yours, Adson. But now your ship's been equipped with conventional weaponry. You know, guns and cannons and whatnot. And you keeping everything as is when cut it for this fight. So I reworked it all from the ground up. It took me a long time to think up something useful, but I finally got the flash of inspiration, and then BAM! Kurigane pushes a few buttons on a very homemade-looking remote, as he happens to have on hand, and the crane begins moving overhead, carrying something gigantic. It's a massive sword. Is that even going to fit on the ship? How am I supposed to wield it? Honestly, I'm surprised even myself with this one. I can believe what I just done. Something out of an anime. Oh, are you gonna turn into a giant robot? But I knew it would work out in the end. After all, you've got the rule of rending. And don't worry, despite how it looks, you'll still be able to engage in ranged combat. It's an option to be mounted onto the bottom of your ship, so there'll be no swinging it around, I'm afraid. Whoa! That's what I'm talking about! I'm kind of jelly, Arson! This weapon's way cooler than mine. I have a sword too! Can I trade mine for a sword? Please? Think of our time to make another one of those in the next 100 hours? Come on, man, cut me some slack.
Plus, wouldn't getting the same thing make you a copycat? Or wannabe, I think they call it. Nobody likes wannabes.
Huh? Of course. Make a good point. I take back my request.
Ship sword. It's not even like a robot in the end, it's just gonna be mounted underneath. How's that gonna work?
I'll just have to outdo you with my monster missiles. I'll be like, blam blam, kaboom, shazam, cut fluey.
Think you can outdo your ace, do ya? Well, how about proving it in the simulation room then? Right now.
Sweet! Cap wants to put my skills to test. I won't let you down, sir. Yes, sir, Captain, sir. That's what I call a military man. Make sure it knows how to inspire new recruits.
I'm thinking you need some extra training yourself, Ricky. So come join us. That'll be the two of you versus me. Alright. So an easy victory for us then. Got it. Let's do this, Cthulhu.
Cool! I bet the two of us together will be unstoppable.
How's that gonna work out? Didn't Break just admit that he'll take one more supportive duties? Well, I guess we're not actually trying to destroy each other's ships, given they're pretty essential assets, and we only have 3 of them. Was that not supposed to be a battle sequence right after? Or, a battle scene after? Guess not. Okay, moving on to episode 4, part 2. Yeah, it's a simulation, but they're still gonna be using their ships, right? With all their customizations. Unless they're not testing their specific new abilities and just the general shape capabilities. Like a holodeck? I thought they were practicing with their ships, not hand-to-hand combat. That'd be bizarre. Well, I guess it's fine anyways. I guess that makes sense of Cthulhu's kit in the end then. His actual unit. If his abilities are explosion-based, then being able to push people around and as well as harm your allies that are a bit too close sort of makes sense. Although if you think about it, that means that when you're fighting with the Nightglows variant units, you're actually fighting not with the individuals but rather them inside battleships. That's a bit funny to think about. Hardly fair. Here we are. Let's do this. The 3 of you spent around 30 minutes running drills and challenge scenarios in the simulation room. Okay, I guess it really was just hand-to-hand combat. At least this explains Cthulhu's wanky kit. Yeah, it makes more sense now. I had no idea what it was supposed to be, but, if the entire thing was about simulating explosions. Kinda makes sense. After an initial moment of measuring each other up, however, each trail seems to end with the exact same result.
What's going on? Something's not right. Why won't any of my shots land?
Frustrated with his poor performance, Katsuga rains another flurry of attacks down on Break. But each time he thinks he finally caught Break in the corner, Break's ship suddenly vanishes. Wait, what? Okay, so, wait. How does this work? So, they're doing like ship simulations in a room, so I guess that's like VR, just seeing each other fight in space and not actually moving in space. I guess that's how it works out.
Oh, this blows! Stupid evasion crap! Just stay still for a second, you sneaky little...
Your destructive power is certainly intimidating. I can feel the tension down in my very bones. But that power is no use to anyone if you can't keep it under control.
What do you mean, Captain? You're cheating, aren't you?
I've no need to resort to trickery. This is just a demonstration of the difference in your skill levels. Before Katsuga has any time to react, Break sweeps over him in one expertly executed motion. Katsuga is drawn in and forced to take a staggering hit. Break's superior skill is on full display, but his ability to read his opponent's movements permitting him to estimate precisely where and when to attack every time. After watching this entire spectacle go down, he decides, what do I decide? It's time to make your move. You come out before Break's blind spot, slipping past Katsuga's ship at breakneck speeds. Break, skill issues, yeah.
I've got you now! Take this! Yeah!
Guess again, rookie.
Huh?
Once more, Break's ship vanishes in a blink of an eye. There's not a trace of it to be seen anywhere. Is this part of its decoy systems? Katsuga's ship is now the only thing in your sights, conspicuously defenseless and exposed.
Ah! He's coming at me again!
Chuck and mate. Is that him crying as it zoomed in? You get caught up in a flurry as well. This Break's surprise attack, causing both of your ships to begin careening headlong into a crash.
This sucks! We were doing so well at the start!
You did get the best of me in that first round. However, as soon as I got used to your movements, it was over for you. You were as predictable as the rising sun.
Predictable? How can we call someone as complex and deep as me predictable?
Your tactics aren't exactly rocket science. You chase down the enemy, then shoot. You never attempted anything else. All anyone needs is speed, and they'll escape your onslaught with a minimal effort. By insisting that your opponent must be taken down through a show of force, you've forgotten the full capabilities of your ship.
Full capabilities? That's just my missiles, right?
Yes, but I don't think you realize just how many of them you have at your disposal, and that can be extremely advantageous. The idea isn't for you to take the enemy down in one shot, but to blanket a group of foes with so many that they get overwhelmed. Instead of focusing on landing hits, just try to hold your opponent down. Make it so they have nowhere to run. Is Break saying to needlessly waste missiles and volley them all at once? Well, it would work if well, I guess it's infinite at that point since it's based on a rule and not necessarily out of some physical limitation. And remember that those missiles aren't your only weapons. The battlefield is a weapon too. Always utilize your environment. So, rock evasion penetration? Yeah. Your strength is in subjugating your opponent. It's a gift you were born with. Learn to use it.
A gift I was born with? I've never had someone talk to me like that before. My heart is beating so fast.
Subjugating your opponent. It's an interesting way of saying what their gift is.
I mean, Roger Dodger, Captain. I'll do exactly as you say.
One more thing. Remember that these tactics I'm telling you about aren't foolproof. Sometimes it's wisest to pull back. Now, onto you, Arthur. I'm sorry. It was sloppy out there. Glad you can see that on your own. Instead of controlling a rule, you got the sense it was controlling you. Your swift hit-and-run technique was like a dance, but your movements were too conventional. It was like watching a training video. Ultimately, I could see through everything. An experienced opponent would walk all over you, I'm afraid. And how experienced could they be? There's a bunch of past night counts. I agree. I need more field experience. I gotta improve myself. Should I focus on crowd control too? I want you to put more attention into reading your opponent's movements. You don't always have to be on the offensive. Try predicting what the next enemy's attack will be. Learn to get a picture of all their strengths and weaknesses. Then, subdue them by exploiting that knowledge. Start thinking ahead, and you'll totally be unstoppable out there. Of course, I suppose I do have a slight advantage over you, having taught you everything you know. So I can read your every move too. The trick is figuring out how to get you to go beyond that. Predictable moves only want to fight if you've got the numbers, and in this war, we definitely do not have those. But if you can think outside of the box, you'll maintain an advantage no matter how big a force you're up against. You may be my student, but that doesn't mean you have to copy what I do note for note. Get creative. I want you to be better than me. I want the student to surpass the teacher. Nothing would make me happier. So do your best and show me that you've got what it takes to outmaneuver this washed-up old fighter pilot. Finally, after having said his piece, Break seems to relax a bit. Let's say we're done for today, shall we? You shoved the seed too deep in the ground and it'll never grow to reach the surface. As if you were waiting for the conversation to end, R19 suddenly appears holding an insulated food storage unit. Oh, thank you, R19. It is recommended that one replenishes their body with nutrients and liquid after an intensive workout. Whoa! Awesome! I was just thinking about getting something to eat. What type of food do you prefer? We have a modest arrangement of offerings available to choose from. Oh! Do you have any, like, space food? I want to try something from a tube. Like, protein cubes or something. I know a lot about deep space, see? That's because I've studied so much at the library. I'm a real, stoic. Acknowledged. Can offer you our S-ration course. R19 opens a tiny compartment in the storage unit and hands Kasuga a small packet vacuum sealed in thick foil. Kasuga's eyes light up with excitement. Wow, Kasuga spends quite a bit of time in the library if that's two different things he's been reading on. Like me, I haven't been in the library in quite a while. Are you sure you want those S-ration? The S-ration. We usually pack those when we're off on a long sortie. They're not exactly great. Never mind, I'm after the vibe over the taste. Is that so? Well, I, on the other hand, I'm going for the M ration. I could do with light meal. As you wish, here you are. R19 offers Break a container noticeably larger than the S ration Kasuga received. Break opens the container and the puff of hot steam escapes into the air. What awaits inside is a fluffy and warm and fluffy rice ball. Huh? Oh, what is that? Break holds up a triangle-shaped ball of rice for Kasuga to see. The lights of the room bounce off each individual shiny, soft grain of rice, while the dark-colored seaweed wrapped around the bottom glistens like opal. This is now a Seaside Summer School with You episode. Break takes a quick whiff from within the cloud of escaping steam, then gives the rice ball a big, heavy, healthy bite. Inside is a heaping helping of golden daikon radish, pickled to perfection, giving the rice ball a sour yet savory note. Break washes it down with a sip of green tea, also included. Kasuga. I'm something of a spaceman myself. Pretty much. Oh man, that hits spot. Oh, that's the real taste of deep space right there. You must be exaggerating, right? There's no way space food can taste that good. Get with the times, old man. We've made considerable advancements over the years in the deep space culinary arts. A good meal can boost the morale of even the most overstressed soldiers, so we here take food sciences very seriously. The quality of the food we provided can literally sway the outcome of the war. Balance and variety are key. Rice balls like these were quite the thing with foodies a while back, which is why we decided to integrate them into our menu. Can I have the M ration too? Rice balls, gotta love them. Eat well today for a healthy tomorrow. Not fair! Why didn't you tell me that sooner?
You can always trade your ration in for a new one. No need to, no need for this blown gasket. Here you are. Should I dispose of the previous ration? No way! I'm going to eat them both, since I read that it's unethical to waste uneaten food. The three of you enjoy your well-earned meals along R19, and before you know it, break time is over. Very necessary scene of eating food in space. The serenity of this past hour is almost enough to make you forget that you're in the middle of a war, on your way to the decisive battle that could be very well end in one way or another. I must begin my patrol duty. If you require anything further, however, please do not hesitate to contact me. We should probably get moving too. Each one of us has responsibilities to attend to, after all. I want to practice more in the simulation room. I can't stand losing like that. I want you to make some time later and come see me. Oh yeah, that thing. Let's do that. We need to talk. I'm gonna go take a quick walk. I'm headed back to my roof for a little bit. There's something I need to attend to. Alright. Do what you gotta do. Just as long as you don't overwork yourself. We need you in tip-top shape. Alright, Duo, what's so important? Are you headed to the bridge, Officer Arthur? I can accompany you part of the way if you have no objections. Guard duty is rough, huh? Oh wait, aren't you part of the medical staff? Partially affirmative. My responsibilities are not limited to one field. I work in multiple departments. Yeah, including serving food apparently. I work as a gunner in times of combat, while also operating transmission controls between the ship and Nightglows units. I suppose it's easier when you're a robot to handle all these multiple objectives, especially one designed for duty. Outside of combat, I'm on guard patrol and tend to the crew's medical needs. Concerning the latter, distribution of food rations is one of the integral part of my duties. Thanks for all your hard work. Is there anything I can do to help? You do so much. Can I be helped? I'll skip out on that. I'm not needing assistance. The work I do is my own. Please prioritize your own well-being. It is imperative to warfare that you remain in good condition. Doing so is the best way to provide me aid. Furthermore, personal conversation is deemed non-essential to our mission, so I must request permission to continue. Do you accept? Wow. Yeah, go for it. The 19-mile replicant acknowledges the approval and continues this evidently personal discussion in a monotone punctuated with occasional hesitation that strikes you as oddly human. Yeah, Armor 19 is like the maid, pretty much, of the ship. I feel a bit bad. Maybe I should give him a hug for his hard work. Thank you. I wanted to voice my appreciation for you, Officer Ayrton. Ever since you joined the force, the mental health of our crew and members has improved considerably. In particular, Brake seems to be really overjoyed. I believe it is your presence that broke us out of the rigid and uncertain quagmire the Shadowbringers forced us into. I believe you've had a profound effect on the Commander as well. Therefore, particularly as an extension of the Commander's will, I feel compelled to extend to you my deepest gratitude. Aw, you're very welcome. I'm happy to hear say that, 19. You're so cute. I love you. Let's say that one, because he's a super hyper maid. Cute? As a military combatant, it is questionable whether this should be considered a compliment, but I shall regard it as one. Acknowledgement received. The delivery of due gratitude on behalf of the Commander has been confirmed. Why do you have to say it like that? On behalf of the Commander. Hey, R19, can I ask you a question? Was the person who made you, perhaps? Affirmative. In a very general sense, you may consider the Commander to be my creator. I thought the R19 was created by Utopia, or... Well, I would presume it's Utopia, but not Duo himself. In any case, they're part of the same plan, Plan D. I was engaged in a mission where I suffered serious damage. This damage caused me to shut down repeatedly. The Commander fixed me, affording my continued operation. Thanks to him, I've been able to complete many subsequent missions. For that reason, I possess a wealth of data about the Commander, much more than any member on the ship. My analysis indicates that the Commander has been struggling with depressions. Since we were forced to deploy the Wall of Time. Oh, really? What's up with Duo? Duo, depression, really? You're kidding?
But he's always so sure of himself. I had no idea. I'm not gonna say I had a hunch. It is the first time that I have ever observed him in such a state. It's definitely unsure of the best course of action. I've referenced numerous human psychology databases, but to no avail. Well, R19 is a real caring robot. I've determined that I am unfit to do anything which could counteract his status. He is, after all, a higher being. Higher being? That's a very specific turn of phrase. It is intended as such, scanning databases for alternate descriptors. Do you understand the term omnipotent and omniscient god? What the fuck? I've determined that there's no adequate service I could offer to such a being. I am merely a machine after all. And what use has a higher being for computational mechanics? Well, I can tell you want to be there for him. You say you have nothing to offer, but is there anything you wanted to try? My programming does not include the authority to provide unrequested comfort or consolation. Therefore, it has been determined that such actions are not desired of me and may in fact be viewed as intrusive. No, I'm not asking about your programming. I'm asking what you personally want to do. You have desires of your own, don't you? For R19. The commander created you. That alone speaks volumes. It means he needed you, and still does. Okay, this is nice to see a friendship between R19 and Do in this story. They like never interacted in the main story though, pretty much. R19 was given by the Outlaws to the Summoners at some point, but R19 himself just kind of escaped some facility. I don't think they ever interacted in the main story. So this is an interesting dynamic. With that said, I'm still not fully convinced that, or I'm not sure if I'm supposed to believe or not that Duo believed or Dill created R19. The commander created you. That alone speaks volumes. It means he needed you, and still does. Wouldn't that be interesting though if in the main quest Duo also had created R19? Scanning database for similar conclusions, I have determined that you are canceling on the nature of humanity. My emotions are a simulacrum of human feelings, and since they are not real, this form of maintenance is not required. His eyes went hollow there for a second when he was saying that. Jeez. I feel bad talking to R19. R19 believes in dual supremacy. Yeah. Nonetheless, your consideration and concern noted, and I give my thanks for taking the time to counsel me. R19's face contorts into a smile that almost looks genuine, yet also falls a bit into the uncanny valley. The android then bows politely and parts ways with you. It's a very interesting character. Usually those kind of characters are written so that they have a hint of humanity deep within them and, you know, what's called, you want to break free of their androidness or their roboticness. But R19 is, you know, straight up just robotic to the bitter end. And I feel almost bad about him since it seems like he's struggling to express that fact because of his programming, but in the end he will follow his programming in the end. I feel a bit bad for R19. Ah, you've come. Sooner than anticipated, actually. Please, relax. Take your stuff at home. How was Officer Katsuga's performance? Does he seem like he'll be an asset to us? He's very easy to read. I think he'll shape up quite nicely, though. We should continue to observe him. Succinct? But tells me everything I need to know. Thank you. Those words seem dismissive. You notice a sullen hue has washed over his face. What I'm about to tell you must be kept top secret. You are not to divulge it to anyone else, including your captain. I am intending to use you up, so to speak, in the final battle to come. For the future of humanity, you are to fight to the end. And by end, I do mean your demise. We have to play our pieces right, and sometimes we have to make sacrifices. But you already knew that, didn't you? If there's anything else you wanted to say it now. I'll lend you my ear, but an ear is all I have to offer, I'm afraid. Whoa. Well, I understand what's needed of me. I trust your decision, Commander, but is there really no other option? Duo looks generally surprised at your action. It's clear he was expecting much more of an objection from you. They say it's actually possible to predict emotions by monitoring the chemicals in the brains before you have them. Maybe some basic emotions, but our emotions are a lot more complex than just chemicals and the direct stimulation of a brain. And also, some emotions are just a product of specific circumstances of our memory and experience too. Like, for example, your brain might say, if you read the chemical composition, as anger, but if you look at the actual details in the brain of the background of it, it'd be something like more refined, like envy or contempt or frustration or jealousy, things like that. And those things require informational context that's not actually necessarily tied to just pure emotion. So, let me just ask one thing. Why do you do it? How can you? How can you bear the weight of humanity? Duo, you're still just a kid. Yet you've taken on so much. I know you can handle it, but still. Never want to talk. Still being a kid yourself and all. But if you must know, much like Bertro, I treat everything like it's a game. That alone makes it all so much easier to bear. I regard every one of us as pieces on a board, in a game where you can retry as many times as you want after making mistakes. All you have to do is close the app and restart it. And I've played the game for a very long time now. Oh, okay. So, as expected, Duo has memories of past loops through his sacred artifact. He has a pillar. But this isn't the game. Surely you understand that much. You do understand that, right? Okay, actually, now that I think about it, I probably should have commented on this earlier, but he does remember all previous loops, so it must be hard, yeah. But I should have commented on this earlier. I was wondering how Nightglows would end, and I mentioned it earlier in a previous stream, but the logical conclusion is because of how extremely different this loop is with the end of humanity and all that. There's not really a way it can continue with us alive. That'd be like some weird timeline that doesn't even matter in the end because everyone's dead. So the only way it can conclude is if the loop ends or we die within the story, and maybe at the end of the story that's exactly what will happen. But we'll just have to see. Oh no, I knew Duo! I knew it! He is having a hard time with all these memories. Of course I understand that. Who do you... Duo stops himself abruptly, his body trembling from the sudden outburst he almost gave into. He pauses for a moment, then resumes in a soft, broken voice. No, I was thinking just a tiny bit, but maybe I was like, no, Duo's trying this. No, he's not. Damn it. I know this isn't a game that we can just start over on a whim. That should be obvious. But what does it hurt to look at things that way? If that's the only way I can shoulder this burden, how is that a problem? The thought that every step could be our last, with no do-overs, is enough to give everyone cold feet without a coping mechanism. Commander, it'll be okay. No! I have siblings, Siblings who were raised with me. Shuichi and Bertro. Right. I guess that's true. I just usually considered Shuichi a sibling, but I guess the rest of the... I forgot to include Bertro and Isaac and what's-her-face as well, Corinne. We were all meant to become geniuses one day, but I was the only one who escaped with my head intact. Oh no! No! Okay, I thought he was talking about, he actually didn't have memories and he was considering this saving humanity. But he's actually just really remorseful of the situation. All the other geniuses are dead or gone. Oh my god, no! Oh, this is so sad! And there was nothing I could do. I had no purpose. I was all by myself, unable to even stand. I wanted to quit from the very beginning. I didn't want to play this stupid game, even if I could redo it till I got it right. And that's when I finally understood that there were no do-overs. One mistake would end everything. So I put on this facade and acted like everything was under control. But it's not. And I don't want to keep pretending it is. Still, I want to protect everyone. I can't let everyone die in me. I just can't. I have to take a stand so that I'll never again have to witness the sights of my siblings bruised and beaten and in tatters. Oh my god, that's so sad! Oh my god, I'm tearing up. See, Duo has always been the stoic figure that just had the big brain and knew about everything. And no matter what timeline, whether it was the main quest or the... what's it called? Any other event, he always seemed to, be distant and thinking of using information for future loops and all that, and taking a more distant approach to not interfere and seeing how things play out, such as in Valentine, what's it called? Thing. Battle of the Valentines? I think that was the one where he showed up in. Man. But this is the first time he's actually really exposed himself. Not even the main quest he's exposed himself. Maybe he's shown hints that he still cares for Shuichi to act on, but this is the first time he showed that. This isn't just a game to him, and he never wanted to participate in it. Damn it. Duo. Oh no. Duo! Okay, Duo went up my tier list of who I care about more by a lot, but just by that. Thank you. I feel a little better now. I've tried to understand it, but try is the best I could ever do. My behavior just now was not befitting of a commander. I'm sorry you had to see that, but I'm okay now. Yeah, so even the main quest timeline, as bad as it is, I'm guessing it was never as bad as so far as this timeline has been for him, where all his siblings had died. That's so sad. Died, and oh my god. Shuichi's gone, and Brocho's lost his mind, and the rest are who knows even where at this point. Almost like someone had flipped a switch. Duo returns to his familiar. Cocks yourself. He smiles at you. You observe the youthful commander standing there, the future of humanity pressing down on him. You consider what all he must be dealing with, what he must be going through. Brew a cup of coffee, massage his shoulders, switch off his monitor. Let's just switch off his monitor. I didn't ask you here so you could interfere with my responsibilities. I don't have time to be taking breaks. I have to keep my sight fixed on our goal every waking minute. Yeah, that's tough. He absorbs himself in his work to save everyone, his siblings, and humanity itself. Getting a better idea of what his general motives are now. And, he just breathes deep down inside his pain all in the meantime. I must continue analyzing intelligence and formulating strategies so that our frontline soldiers don't falter. Granted, I very well may be pushing myself too hard. Excessive fatigue is detrimental to efficiency. I appreciate your consideration. This little stunt of yours was a bit out of line, but I'll overlook it, given the circumstances. I do believe you've helped snap me out of a slump I didn't even know I was in. I will leave Officer Kasuga in your hands. You may share the responsibility with Captain Brake as well. You are hereby dismissed. You may now leave the bridge. Yes, Commander. Don't try to push yourself so hard. We'll get through this alive. Without saying another word, Duo reclines back into his seat. You exit from the bridge in silence, and only a few moments later...
Still looks like you're in a slump to me, Commander.
Oh no, how invasive is that? Ugh, if it's not one thing, it's another. Don't you know listening in on people is rude? Same as Atlas, Duo carries on the main fight. Yeah, for real. Jeez. Now I feel really bad for Duo. You know, he gives off this cocksure appearance of confidence, and you know, you can trust his plans in the main quest because he seems to be a step ahead of everyone, and you know, you can... It almost dehumanizes him, but in a way you can still trust him because he seems to be working for best interests. But in the end, he's just really vulnerable in the end, and you can see him suffering from, you know, trying to appear confident and doing things according to his plan. But in reality, I'm sure the uncertainty of everything and the doubts and the losses weighs heavily on his mind. The futileness as well, with all the loops he's seen so far. Of the test iteration of these characters, yeah. I was planning to come right in, but then I thought I might be interrupting you, so I stayed back. German Bertra was next to me too, and that's what he did, so I felt I should follow suit. Chain of command, you know? Oh my god, everyone is looking. I'm hereby banning any eavesdropping on the conversations of superiors. You'll be court-martialed if this happens again. Got it? Now, that aside, tell me, how are the modifications to the 3 fighter ships going? And that really puts into context what happened in Chapter 11 when Duo saved Bertro. It wasn't just out of saving Bertro out of the furtherment of his plan, but you know, it didn't even register that in my mind back then, but he was saving a sibling he cared about, the sibling that had lost his mind due to the madness, and of course Duo was aware of the madness too of the war, not the war, the repetition of loops. That is so sad, jeez. Before answering Duo's question, Protagoni reaches over to the Bison wall next nearby. Yeah, Duo's take artifact is related to Atlas. Oh, I see. So there is a direct connection turn. He presses a button and the door closes shut. The silence is almost deafening. Not a word of their conversation will leak out beyond the reinforced and thoroughly soundproof walls.
If eavesdropping is now banned, it's best to enforce it, right? Plus, I've got some questions for after my report. Maybe I shouldn't ask them, but I'm everybody's big bro, so I think it's important I get the full story.
Come all the way to the deepest reaches of space, and somehow wind up with more big brothers than when I left.
Come again?
I couldn't quite make out what you were saying there, Commander. Oh, it's nothing. I just have a rather nasty habit of giving my brothers a hard time, so consider yourself duly warned.
That's funny. I seem to remember you saying you had a soft spot for big brothers.
I do. There just aren't many out there who can put up with me. Regardless, we have more important matters to discuss. I guess since Duo was the last to be made, he would also be the younger brother to all of the other, what's called, great geniuses as well. Specifically, I wanted to talk about Cthulhu. I think he's baiting us. Or rather, I think he himself is being used as bait. The information he's provided with us is just a bit too convenient, don't you think? It's like his capture was just allowed to happen. It was almost too easy. And he had all the intel we needed to alter our plans and incite us into action. I can't help but feel like we're being led into a trap.
Well, that's certainly a possibility, but I don't know that I see it myself.
What's your take on our seemingly reformed foe then? Do you regard him as fondly as Arthur seems to?
Yeah, I'd say so. I like the guy. He learns real quick and is always eager to learn more. Oh, and he pouts like a pro.
It's a trap. Truly, Star Wars reference is complete here now.
My problem is his personality, or I should say his rule. It's kind of all over the place.
Not much is apparent, yes. He's out of control. It's no wonder the enemy commander is willing to get rid of him. Perhaps that was even the idea. Plant him among our forces, and remotely trigger him to erupt when the moment is right.
can't help but notice that you're still allowed him to join our ranks, though, even knowing the risks. Duo flinches at Kurogani's remark, with a sour expression. He reluctantly nods in agreement. We had until we needed it, and I couldn't let that opportunity slip through our fingers. It's the only thing keeping us afloat. Plus, with the troops in short supply, any and every resource available to us must be exploited to the fullest. But yeah, that scene just happened before. I guess that's nice confirmation that indeed Tokyo's dead, and there's no guilds. There's not really any games happening, at least within Tokyo. Oh yeah, one of the questions that going on with this event is how exactly would rules be enforced and all that, since, you know, it's bizarre. You'd think the whole game thing would only happen within the realm of Tokyo. Because technically we're outside of Tokyo now, and at least beyond walls. We don't even know what's beyond walls. And yet here we are in outer space, completely far from Tokyo. So, I don't know if there's anything special with the space we're in right now compared to within the walls. At least there's a key one. Yeah, it is. Plus, with troops in short supply, and every resource available to us must be exploited to the fullest. Ultimately, even if we're just playing into the enemy's hands, we have no choice but to use Katsuga. We're dealing with an extremely formidable foe, possessing both intelligence and cunning in equal measure. But that's also the problem here. No enemy as well organized as the buggers would allow things to end with a simple face-off. Dio's hinting there's some alternate outcome they're hoping for. Based on what we learned about Nodin's soliloquies, it seems he wants to enshrine us as a king or something, or Cthulhu rather. We have to figure out what they're planning. If he can't in the next few days, then... it doesn't bear thinking about. That nightmarish rule of theirs, too, complicates matters. How can we deal with a foe that can call upon infinite pasts? We have nearly bottomless reserves at the disposal. We can barely even comprehend the full extent of their power. Once I start thinking about it, the problems just keep piling up. What's the answer? Even Duo is overwhelmed here. This isn't a problem for you to solve on your own, Commander. You're not alone in this. You may be the smart one here, but that doesn't mean we've got nothing to bring to the table. You can count on us, you know. You're absolutely right. Hey, may I ask you a question? Oh yeah. I mean, you're the boss. Literally. Why did he decide to become a spacecraft engineer? And don't say it's the role you're born for. We both know that's not true. You have to change devices by rec. Yo, welcome. Yeah, Kurgani's just typing us up right now about something, I don't know. It's some discussion about the plans and what to go forward with. I just can't imagine why you would choose to stand in front lines of this desperate effort to save humanity from extinction. Were you banished from Earth as penance for a crime, perhaps? Is that how you think of me? Man, no, on the one hand, I really just want to follow in my parents' footsteps. And on the other hand, I'm searching for the unknown, I guess you could say. Outer space is such a mystery. There's so much out here waiting to be discovered. I couldn't resist the call, you know. I do see the appeal. Rather a shame that the unknown you found turned out to be dead aggressors, however. Yeah, that's definitely not ideal. But I mean, I was able to meet people like Kasuga too, so it ain't all bad. Come now, Kurogani. You need to be more careful than that. Have you not already discussed the danger he poses? Yeah, he's dangerous, but what isn't out here in space? Granted, his enlistment makes things a little more complicated. But we're trying to save ourselves from extinction, so hey, Briggers and Shugos, you know. The present is just the crossroads where the past and future intersect. But the past and future are both heavily traveled roads, and with so much baggage hurling down them at unsafe speeds, there are bound to be collisions where they meet. So I've always been confused by Duo's motivations and the main story. He doesn't seem to be hoping for testing out a theory unlike his other brothers of, you know, assimilation versus education versus the other one, warfare. But he's also what's called... how do I put this?
he also, I don't know, was sort of playing around the game the entire time, as if trying to pull the wool over the game masters or something. I'm not entirely sure what his intent was, but it didn't seem to be very kosher towards the game itself, and instead was trying to play around it. In this case, though, he seems to have abandoned all his original motivations for it, and is now just solely fixated on the salvation of humanity, which in itself is sad that he was developed as a clone, or whatever he was, to be a super genius, to be as a backup to the plan. But in the end, none of those plans went even according to the game masters, and now it's just Duo trying to use what gift he was given for some other purpose now to salvage the remaining survivors. Both the past and the future are both heavily traveled roads, and with so much baggage rolling down them at unsafe speeds, there are bound to be collisions where they meet. This convergence naturally brings with it considerable fear, but ultimately, fear is just another word for the unknown. We're still in part 4, right? Episode 4? This is a very long episode 4. But that's why I like that insert section so much. When something's unknown, it just makes me want to know it all the more. I remember the first time I saw the night sky as a child. I looked up at those twinkling lights and thought to myself, those can't all just be stars. There are stories in those dots. I was aware of the night's glow too, how it represents the border where the planet I was born on met the rest of space. I wonder how it must look from the other side, our little blue planet shining in the blackness of night. In main quest, Du and Shuichi worked to end the game using the knowledge of previous loops. Oh, was that their intention? It was kind of confusing what their intention was, but if that's their intention, I mean, it's in line with what they're doing so far, to kind of end it. In this case, though, it seems like he's even abandoned that, because there's no game happening, apparently. It's just, it's keeping people alive at this point. The very, very, very few people alive. I was absolutely captivated by that glow. I knew I would one day go somewhere beyond it. I'm Kurogane, luminary of the stars. Duo stares at the introspecting Kurogane, his gaze slowly wandering down to Kurogane's prosthetic arm. Both parties have the same peculiar look on their faces, a mixture of surprise, clarity, and longing. That was an unusual conversation. Can't sleep. Can't stop thinking. Anxiety or anticipation. Must be something I talked about. Master, what are you doing here? As a pilot, you're obliged to get at least 6 hours of rest each day. This place is not suitable for that purpose, particularly compared to the Wall of Time's crew quarters. You're advised to return to your room and go back to sleep. I'd rather be here right now. I need someone to hear me out. I want to be with you, little someone. Understood. Please allow me a moment to adjust your pilot's seat for enhanced comfort. The sound of a whirring engine echoes through the empty cockpit as the pilot's seat reclines until flat and the cushions inflate until they're soft like pillows. There isn't much space, but you can feel throughout your entire body that comfortless has been optimized. It somewhat reminds you of the feeling of being inside a sleeping bag. Your brainwave scan shows hints of anxiety. Are you worried about the fight ahead, or is this a matter of human relations? Alternatively, it is conceivable you may be regretting your enlistment, given what has been asked of you. I was even listening to that. Yeah, I want to talk more about Duo. That was... damn. The concern that Commander Duo feels is typical of any commander. I suspect that his open display of emotion was a demonstration of how much he genuinely trusts you. Your counseling was also effective in lessening his psychological burden, so I too wish to extend my thanks to you. Please note that in accordance with military procedure, I will be restricting access to the recording of our current conversation. It's clear that your present anxiety is a result of the current situation and the role you are playing in it. Neither I nor any other member of this worship is capable of rectifying the problem at its root. However,
I can suggest a positive and productive countermeasure to cope with it. We must compromise, Master. Compromise with what? With reality? It's an oddly non-AI-like suggestion. As he talked about finding some sort of alternate solution to us sacrificing ourselves. Is something the matter, Master? My suggestion seems to have perturbed you. If Duo remembers, does Bertro too? Bertro should remember too, but the problem with Bertro is, you know, his mind's not fully there. I mean, he still is a lot more there than pretty much all of the old ones, but even in main quest, he seemed to have some severe, you know, behavioral and motivation issues with trying to end the world on his own. It wasn't even a warmonger's goal, right? He was supposed to be an observer as the guild master to, I guess, rep for the game masters in the end. But instead, he took things into his own hands to try to end the world by having the moon collide with the Earth. That was no one else's plan except for Bertro. Everything else that was happening, that was sort of Bertro kind of orchestrated that indirectly between Shiva meeting Valor as well as MC, so that Shiva would get angry, and then that would unlock his motions, and then that would also stimulate the whole what's called exception thing between Shiva as well as Mahakala, and the whole Mahakala thing that was done by Daikoku to enshroud the world in darkness, since they're kind of one and the same mythologically. But even beyond that, the entire thing was orchestrated in the end so that Bertram foresaw it all as the true genius, and he would then lead to the moon collapsing into the Earth. I forget what was the, you know, how he was able to achieve that specifically. It had to do with using Mahakala or exception Mahakala's powers to do it. But in the end, that was no one's plan except for Bertram. No one else of the Warmongers really coordinated with him to do that. So yeah, Bertram's not fully there. I think he is all about warfare, which is understandable given his extreme body modifications has changed most of his like internal body parts, and now he's mostly a robot. So I can feel for Duo, and he must have mixed feelings looking at Bertram as a result. Little Salmon, what do you really think? Am I doing well? Am I doing okay even? Give me a nice cold AI evaluation. Despite your uncertain circumstances, it is apparent that you have been giving your utmost best effort to our cause. As your designated spacecraft AI system, I will also continue to do my best to assist you in the completion of your tasks. Considering all factors, it's my assessment that you are entirely adequate for the position to which you have been assigned. There are different interpretations of the saying being, yeah, it's like a carryover mythology. We don't, well, it's not something that I had previously thought was possible because, you know, monotheism doesn't generally have that, but with other religions such like Hinduism and Buddhism, that led to the fusion of their god Mahakala from Hinduism and Buddhism when it was adopted into Shintoism of Japan, which led into Daikoku because the direct translation is like a great shadow or something like that. I forget, but there's some direct connection there of how it transformed into Daikoku just because he became a god from darkness and death and something like that, and but somehow transformed to a god of prosperity when it was immigrated or adopted into Japan. It's very fascinating when I read on it. Thank you, that's what I needed to hear. I'd be nothing without you, you know. I love you, little Solon. I will continue to provide advice on the best course of actions to ensure your survival and success moving forward. I ask that you persevere and protect yourself with utmost care. Preserve and protect yourself with utmost care for as long as your services are still needed in war effort. You can rest assured that I will be by your side until this operation is concluded. That is my role to fulfill. Capital R, huh? Your role, huh? Hey, that's what I was about to ask you just now, or, you know, comment on. Like,
what's the significance here with Little Solomon? It could have been any AI, but clearly we should have had our phone with us in the beginning. That should have been Little Solomon. Somehow it became the AI, and for some reason it's talking as an actual AI. It lost its entire personality. Where do you come from exactly? I cannot provide an answer. I've not been provided access to that information. So you're just like me in a way. Do you know if you have parents? If so, I'd love to meet them someday. Like you. Parents. Meet them someday. Yeah, I mean, we're really very similar, right? We should search for our pasts together. Alert! You have now misappropriated approximately 1 hour of your allotted rest time. This counseling session will now be concluded. Please return to your quarters and get your rest. Is that him being evasive? I'm going to sleep here with you. I want you to go into standby. Refer this to my room. You think there's such a thing as inherited memory? Maybe there's something eternal there between our bond with Solomon that transcends, causality and these loops that persists. Understood. Adjusting cabin temperature and humidity to a level conducive to sleep. Mahakal is based on a deity of the same name and one of the forms that Shiva takes when full of anger. Mahakala is also sometimes interchangeable with Daikakuten or Daikoku. She was Japanese counterpart. Yes, that is correct. It's very fascinating. I was confused when I was reading the story because I didn't know that before of why Daikoku was even the story and what he was doing with Mahakala. But once I read the background of Mahakala and how they're one and the same, that explained it. Essentially, Daikoku is kind of the same thing as Mahakala, and so his intent was to enshroud the world in darkness because that's what he was the god of before, darkness and death and like something like that. And that's what he wanted as a god. But it's weird because there's two separate entities at the same time, but also the same entity. If I remember correctly, Lil Solomon is part of the MC. Lil Solomon, I believe, was some sort of emissary sent by what's called a Solomon. Not Lil Solomon, but the guy, the guy that looks like Mr. Mononobe. I don't even know. Understood. Adjust like cabin temperature and humidity to a level conducive sleep. Good night, Master. Sweet dreams. You lie back and close your eyes. Many conversations were had, making this night you and the rest of the crew are sure to never forget. Never to forget. Dad Solomon. You're not certain how long you are asleep, but you're suddenly jolted awake by a thick atmosphere of tension and unease that seems almost to be flooding the cockpit. I'm issuing a level 1 emergency alert to all hands until further notice. Repeat, we are in red alert status. We have established visual contact with our goal. Our final destination has come into view. Didn't you say 100 hours? That would be like at least 3 days, right? Nearly 4 days at that point. And this was like less than 1 day has transpired. The fuck? How are we already there? A duo projects onto your Mount's castle, inconceivable in its scale, shining brilliantly among the sea of stars. No doubt it must be the Agate Castle. It dominates the dark and silent emptiness of the surrounding space, creating a genuinely uncanny, palpable sense of dread. Jeez, that was a very long episode 4. Next time on Nightglows. Some hope. Some hope in the stars. Desperate attempt to win in Agate Castle with her crew. Lots of nightgowns attacking us, Shadowbuggers. And Odin's is there. And we'll just have to see. I guess, so they're just gonna fight. Final episode coming up next. So we're not gonna complete the final episode, but I'm gonna do something unusual. Nice loop. We are going to complete the first 2 parts of episode 5 today. So episode 5 actually has 3 parts. So we'll do parts 1 and 2, and then we'll save part 3 as well as the rest of the epilogue for tomorrow. heavy sleepers. I don't think that's how it works. You don't sleep for more than like in 24 hours. At that point, it's encroaching in hibernation, which is just not something humans do. Okay, episode 5, part 1. But yeah, episode 4 was fantastic. The writing went all out there. Hyper carried by Duo, mind you. It would be nice if LifeWonders would release some sort of a, written summary of every chapter, kind of like in its own section, to at least give a gist of the progression, the sense of progression of new terms and new factions and motivations that are being had. Because it is hard to keep track of it after a while. It's been a long time since I've read the entire story originally, so a lot of the details that I originally mentioned could really benefit from the context I have now. I reread the story up to chapter 4, but not including chapter 4, so I really should continue from there. This event and the content stories have to be my favorites. I liked reading the content story when I first saw it, but looking back, I can't really remember most of it. Actually, now that I think about it, it had to do with Bale trying to make his own world and all that. It was okay. I think it was pretty good, and it was a nice beginning of some acknowledgement of the main quest plot terms within the actual stories, event stories. With that said, yeah, I don't know. Some Fallen World content was a bit confusing for its significance to the rest of the story. Alright, let's continue. A few days of relative peace have passed. For all you know, they could be humanity's final hours, so the respite is both welcome and comforting. You spend that time together with the crew, talking about your dreams and plans for after the war, all the while knowing deep down you may not live to see that end. Still, you laugh together and enjoy each other's company. It's the best you can do with the time you have left. Even if humanity should come out victorious, you recognize that this military unit will be no more. Win or lose, times like these are fleeting and should be enjoyed for all they're worth, because either way, this will all end. The foreboding. One member of the crew offers a peculiar thought. What if we've all been acquainted before, a long time ago, and simply forgot? You'll laugh at the notion. So does everyone else, save for one person. Duo knows! Duo.
Why? Why do you people have to die? We only just met. We're only just getting along.
Wait, everyone has to die now? Not just me? Damn, is this a suicide mission then? Cthulhu's eyes flood with tears. They seem primed to burst. Cthulhu, please don't cry. Oh, I guess they're just talking about me specifically.
I don't want to be left alone. I can't stand being alone.
Right, deep down inside, you actually hate me, don't you? What's this all of a sudden, Lieutenant General?
You seem suspiciously sincere.
Of course. I'm not sure what's going to happen after all this. I'm just as in the dark as the rest of you. I know you'll survive this, so at least I created you with that in mind after all.
Oh, is Bertram that created Break? What? Was that really who created 2? I don't know what's going on here, but sure. I'll keep this in mind for clarification. Maybe it's consistent with the main quest, but I had the general idea that Break and R19 was created by Utopia. But maybe Utopia as a faction included originally Duo and Bercho, and they created them respectively then. That would be interesting, but I don't know.
I want to create an android who could live on to show the universe that humanity existed and tell them all about us. You were built to survive everything from a supernova to a vacuum. But that's you, and only you. No one else, not even me, would be left to stand by your side. Because of that, you have all the reason in the world to hate me. I created you with no regard for your feelings.
You certainly did. But you're in the same boat. I mean, you were made a prodigy without any regard for your feelings too. So Break knows about it. Product of bioengineering experiments, right? One of several children engineered with a superior intellect, if I recall. Christuga. So what does it matter if I hate you or not? Doesn't change a thing in the end. Besides, I won't be left alone. None of us are alone in this. Everyone had gathered under the darkness of night, and they would each part ways under that same darkness. So, we're familiar now with the concept of cosmic terror, but I guess there's also such thing as a cosmic acceptance of, the death of night. It's just this one brief moment in which they hold the opportunity to comfort one another for the first time since embarking on this long and arduous journey. Ryuga, favorite snack. Yet this one moment is a present time in which everyone can be together. And though that present will soon be past, it will never truly be lost. Even if some may forget the events of this day, others will surely always remember. The Wall of Time's hull has 3 layers of thick, protective glass separating the interior from the vacuum of space outside. As the warship travels forward, the distant stars can be seen gradually drifting past. It's a scene right out of a dream from long ago. Keep the warship cruising at maximum speed, Kurogane. We should be able to make it before humanity's time is up. Duo gives his order to Kurogane. His rule grants him the ability to seize control of light. And the ship's technician, he's routed the engine to be powered by this rule. As the ship's technician, he's routed the engine to be powered by this rule. The speed we're traveling now is the theoretical limit. No one in the entire future of humanity could ever surpass it. Which means we may be the first humans ever to venture this far into deep space. In fact, I'd say we almost definitely are. Duo looks out at the scenery in awe. He turns back to Kurogane, whose eyes are fixed ahead. The stars are reflected in them as they pass by the ship. Duo shrugs. Oh, Atlas shrugged! Atlas shrugged! I don't know what that book is about, but I know it's a book. You possess the remarkable ability to see faster than the speed of light. You're staring into the void. It reminds me a bit of a poem I once read. To summarize, I believe one could call that a representation of hope.
Huh? Oh, sorry, what was that? Oh, look! The planet's getting closer! Wow. Are we already this far out?
Stars that had only been seen before through the telescopes are momentarily visible from the windows before they disappear from view as the ship impossibly darts past them.
That's all I get? Man, I can't catch a break. It's gonna be hard to remember how it looked from just that one moment.
Don't worry, I remember everything for you. For a mind like mine, it's no effort at all. Galaxy Brain Duo.
Everything!
Hey, our paths have crossed, so you'll never be alone again. I'm so glad to have met you, Kasuga.
Everything! Oh, I won't cry. I can control my feelings.
Crawl into bed with them. Alright, let's do this. Let's do this. Before you know it, you find yourself dozing off. Where am I? I was just lying in bed a moment ago.
Welcome. You finally come, O heir to our throne.
Power? Is there more than one person?
You are deep within the Dreamlands, where we hold dominion. As the name doth suggest, they are lands of dreams. Here is where we have been banished to, chased away from our glorious throne, and prohibited from ever leaving.
So, I'm dreaming then. Why would someone I don't know be here? It's an unusual dream of a stranger.
You ask the wrong question. You are within our dreams. You are the one who has become a dreamer and entered our realm. We are they who have been confined to these realms, never to step foot outside their borders.
Odin's the crazy daddy of dreams. Is that actually what his mythology is about, being about the dreamer? I thought he was supposed to be some sort of steward of Earth.
Oh, but to imagine you would come barging in from the other side, directly through the depths of our psyche.
You really can't leave. You're trapped in this weird place? So you're stuck in a never-ending dream. There it is again, the theme of infinity.
Do you pity us? Or perhaps do you desire to laugh at our miserable predicament? Laugh if you must, though you and we share this fate, with you trapped in the confines of that cramped, walled city.
Is he trapped in the confines of the cramped? Okay, so he's aware of this, the walls of the original game then, and he is trying to escape the fate of our the old one's eternal loss in the context of that game.
But we at least have our vassals to keep us company. Our predicament is not to be pitied. Wait.
This place is...
You know not how long we've waited, and how impatiently. But now you are finally here, O heir to the throne. Yes, you are the one who will succeed our dominion over the Slumberlands. Do you remember your name? Luke. Luke?
Okay, Luke is not part of the old ones. He's what's it called? He's the exile of Tir-Nanog, so I'm not sure why he's referring to him specifically. Nodens, the embodiment when intrusive thoughts witness. Okay. The words of the man stood before you comes muddled in a cluster of cacophonous sounds. He lets out a cry of anguish.
No!
What's happening? But yeah, Luke is the grandson of Balor, and also the son of that important Tyr guy from... I forget the guy's name. A few moments before the Lord is sent out to all hands on the Wall of Time. Commander Duo stands on the fourth side of the warship's bridge. He's the first to observe and confirm the existence of the enemy's unimaginably massive stronghold. Nodin shares his body with two beings of the same name. Bit of a spoiler, but I did get that impression from what's called his Valentine quest. He was just like talking as if he was two different entities. He's the first to observe and confirm the existence of the enemy's unimaginably massive stronghold. He stares in horror, mouth agape. It looks exactly as it did in projection, but seeing it in reality is far more surreal and unsettling. General Bertro, I'm turning command over to you for this. From here on out, I must put my absolute all into steering this ship. Just keep in mind, I haven't read the story yet, so if there's any revelations from later in the story that you already know of, just keep in mind. The rest is in your hands. This is to be my final order for this mission.
That's awfully trusting of you, and was spoken with no hesitation. Who are you, and what have you done with the commander?
So it's Nodens, Dream Nodens, and the cooler Nodens. I was more so presuming, you know, a wise king Nodens and lost his mind Nodens, but we'll see. I suppose I've rid myself of what was previously haunting me, Lieutenant Bertram. What's his original name again? That wasn't Robert, was it? I don't know, he's just... What am I talking about? The Lieutenant General, that's what he's about to say. I'm done with shit. Let's continue. I've come all this way carrying a terrible weight, incapable of pulling myself away from what I thought to be my raison d'etre. Me pulling out my French R's from out of nowhere. For so long, I stood there just watching my three siblings stab one another in the back again and again. Oh no! Virgo and Duo, no! Capable of pulling myself away from what I thought to be in search. So he's let go of his past obligations. Yeah, I mentioned this before. His three siblings. Awkwardly excluding Shuichi. Either that or Kern. Kern does not exist. But now I see the world differently. I see it from outside. From this vantage point that outer space has provided me. Wow. So this must be very important to loop for Duo personally then. I mean, I hinted at that before. But he's now been informed of how insignificant the game itself has been because of his just grander perspective due to this loop of all his siblings dying and him being sent to space, and seeing how everything here looks so tiny, so insignificant. It's hard to believe my horizons were so limited for so long. It's very interesting. So keep in mind, the main quest Duo we're seeing is someone informed by this loop. So he doesn't even see the game as his raison d'etre anymore. He sees it as just an insignificant thing to something more important, which he seems to have found, just the value of people and his family. I will fight to the bitter end. With all my heart and soul, I will fight. Quite the family Duo has. Quite the very tragic family of genetically engineered siblings. I've been keeping my big brother waiting for far too long as it is, there in that tiny city. He's bound to be worried about me, having been away all this time. It's a tough life, being the little brother. Oh, it's Shuichi, fine. Okay. Don't know who's dead and who's alive. Nightglows of the Starlit Sky. Final episode. Thank you all.
Yeah! He got away! We've been waiting for him for so long, but he got away. Bah! Whatever. He'll be back in no time to jump right into our mouth. No! Servants! Go fetch our visitors and escort them to our chamber. Yeah.
Without saying a word, the two figures obediently bowed to their king before departing, their hats having long been since been sealed away.
It's about time to get this last biggest party started. Welcome, guests, to the Dreamlands.
His eyes burn with fierce intention as he leans back and looks up at the void below, laughing maniacally. The old ones, I mentioned this before, but they just have a lot more interesting and relatable kind of a concept of mythology. You can learn all about this Egyptian mythology and how it's called uncles betray each other and how their genitals were cut off and how the eyes were sent all across Egypt to find it or whatever. But something like this speaks to me more. That's all I can say. Just a true madness. Beginning sensor sweep around the Agate Castle. Shadowbugger contingent has been deployed, estimated 2 billion strong. The number of Shadowbuggers reported results in an audible gasp among the crew. The monitor darkens as the swarming Shadowbuggers begin to blanket the warship's entire line of sight. Everyone just stares silently in fearful awe at the sheer spectacle of it. But yeah, there's certainly more gravitas from the older ones sort of situation than from what I could tell in a lot of the other mythologies. Just my opinion though. Finally, one person steps forward and breaks that silence. We gotta be the one to say it. It's time to go. We gotta tuck our tails between our legs and get the hell out of here.
No need to wait for courage to come and kick in. Against this many foes, our chance ain't just zero, it's in the minus. I bet even the commander's at a loss for ideas. Faced with odds like these, well, he's no longer commanding anywhere, so... Actually, I have a plan. The silence turns, but this time takes on a more dire timbre. All eyes are on Nomad, whose anger seems poised to burst at any moment. I know the rest of y'all ain't got the courage to stand up to this commander of yours, so I'll just have to do it for you. Look out the damn window! You think any plan your cockamamie head can come up with as a snowball's chance? All you're doing is sending us to our deaths, and only we get to choose how to live our lives. I ain't about to throw away mine. Need I remind you that we are the last ones in this universe who are capable of fighting for the survival of humanity. So trust me, I would never give out some half-baked order that would just end in certain death. I might put enough pressure on you that you'll wish you were dead, but that's a whole different story. Nice smile. Bill Lisa. Ooh, the bell music! Ikabuku Dungeon. Oh, that's rich. You don't scare me, kid. I've seen fates who worse than death for longer than you've been alive. But hey, you got my attention. Let's hear this plan of yours that can overcome billions of enemies. Alright, it's a simple one. We avoid engaging with the shadow buggers altogether, and instead cut through their stronghold. How about this time I remind you, there are 2 billions of the buggers out there. That's a billion with a B. Trust me, we can do this. I'm going to use my rule to block them from reaching us. Duo opens his hands to reveal 2 shining orbs, which begin floating above his palms. The orbs stretch out into 2 beams of light and attach themselves to the warship's inner hull, giving Duo complete control of the vessel's functions. R-19, keep an eye on the enemy's movements. Feel free to engage auto-fire, as long as it can distinguish friend from foe. Acknowledged. Until the battle has been resolved, I will reroute all my functions to respond directly to your commands. Kurogane, try to keep the Wall of Time's engines going as long as possible. You got it! Though even with my rule, we're only gonna get about half hour. Any longer and it's complete for us. Finally, Lieutenant Nomad. I know. I've already run the drills expecting this thing would come things would come to this. Just please, don't put all your eggs in the emergency evasion basket. Sooner or later, it's gonna be the death of me. Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure what Nomad's contribution is. Before he was operating the Wall of Time itself, but now he seems to be operating just the evasion system. You don't think this will work? Awful big ship to dodge and weave. Can nearly win through just evasion. See Kotaro evasion spam. I know it sounds like a desperate move, but trust me, there's a real chance here. Look, within the horde of shadow buggers, there are a few figures growing larger than the rest. You should be the commanders. Oh! I knew it! These shadow buggers you keep talking about are what I know as Nightglows. They're under Nodens' control. Well, these in particular give a much different impression than the others, and we haven't seen them at any enemy camps before. I suspect they may be relay antennas of sorts. Operates by Nodens' rules, no doubt. If this were any ordinary bugger incursion, we'd simply throw everything we had at it to subdue the threat. Obviously, it's not quite that simple, but with our rules, I still feel we should at least be able to break through this wall. And those big ones may be the key. With the enemy guarding itself's home base, we can assume them to be proxies for Nodens himself. Per Officer Katuga's information, database nomenclature has been adjusted. Shadowbuggers will henceforth be called Nightglows. Protecting approximately 10 million of these higher threat entities, comprising roughly 0.5% of the entire swarm. Nomad the go faster button of the ship. Oh, I guess that's what it is, yeah. He's the tap of the actual warhead itself, the Wall of Time. Those numbers are not very encouraging, but I guess those are the Nightglows you should focus on clearing a path through. That's your best option. I'll need 2 of you to handle that. Captain Brake, Officer Kazuga, here to function as escorts for the Wall of Time, flanking us till we're in. Roger that, Commander! Starting from the Yaga Castle and working outwards, we'll designate 100 defensive zones like so.
By my calculations, the most efficient break-in point will be the 30th of those. With a good break, you two proceed onward to the 25th and clear an escape route. Finally, Officer Arathon. Well, we only have a chance at this because of our rules, supposedly, so we'll probably have to face Godems himself as his goal for us. The three of you enter your ships and go into standby mode. In the vacuum of space, there is no sound, which means both the blasts of explosions and mechanical clunking of shots being fired occur in absolute eerie sounds. Tells that to Star Wars. Consider that beyond these metal walls, an incomprehensibly massive fleet of enemies is in motion. If you could hear it, the sound would no doubt be deafening. Instead, what you hear is...
They tell you to take deep breaths in times like this. What's that helping? My heart feels like it's about to explode. Hey! The warship's really going to fly straight into that horde, and we're supposed to lead it. There's no breathing deep enough to take away that kind of stress.
It's only natural. Being sorted into something like this is overwhelming is enough to make anyone's heart seize up. Officer Kutuga, let me teach you a good way to relieve your tension.
You know something better than deep breaths? What is it? What is it?
Shouldn't you be saying this for the special quest? You're going to listen to your own voice as you repeat after me. Ready? Say it with me now. I'm scared.
Huh? If I say it, isn't that just going to make me more scared?
Trust me. Repeat after me. Not just once, but over and over. I'm scared. I'm scared.
I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. This is so stupid. It's like I'm trying to cast a magical spell or something. Is this really going to help?
Seems like it already has. Your voice has stopped shaking. You begin to talk like normal.
Huh? No way! How do you do that?
It's natural to be scared in the face of danger. Suppressing those feelings will only lead you to making critical errors. It's better instead to step out of yourself and try to look at the situation from the perspective of an outsider observer. From that standpoint, you might be able to get a more objective look at it and see for yourself how debilitating fear can be.
Thank you, Captain. I've never had anyone give me advice like that before. I've never had anyone be so nice to me at all, actually. Who would think you'd care enough to look out for me?
Oh yeah, isn't the wolf Berto riding Brake's brothers? Oh yeah, it is, yeah. What's it called? That makes sense then, actually. There's no, if Bertram made, Brake from one of his brothers, then it's no surprise he would also have control over his other brothers like that. So, yeah, that's affirming evidence that Bertram did indeed create Brake.
I don't, it makes me feel all the more motivated. Let's all do our best, together!
Nightglow 1, Nightglow 3. Prepare to enter phase 2 of the operation. Commencing in 1 minute. This is Nightglow 1. I'm ready to go anytime.
This is Nightglow 3. I'm not nervous anymore. I feel super ready.
Acknowledged. Opening the hangar. Nightglow 1, prepare for takeoff. The hangar's hatch slowly opens, and the red lights of Brake's ship are exposed to the open space. Brake's ship is hooked into the catapult, and the nozzles of his engines begin to glow with blue flames. Prepare for takeoff in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nightglow 1, away! Thank you, Bertram, for creating such a dreamy guy. Yeah. The signal lights of the hangar turn green, and Brake's ship is launched into dark vastness outside the warship. Nightglow 3, prepare for takeoff.
Ow! Here we go!
Kathigo leans forward in his seat with anticipation, turning to his control stick. He's so excited he even howls despite himself.
Nightglows 3, ready for launch! Let's do this! Oh!
Another flashlight shoots from within the hangar as the newly commissioned Nightglows 3 blasts into action. Humanity has called for aid, and these two fighters ship race off to answer that call. They light up the sky with not just their energy output, but their fierce determination as well.
Nightglows 2, do you read me? Because if so, you should stop. Keep your eyes on the prize. But also, please respond.
This is Nightglows 2, affirmative. I read you loud and clear. Nice to hear a fresh voice and calm.
Здравствуйте. The commander's got his hands while steering the warship. So he'll be answering to me for this operation. We've just broken through the 25th event zone. Escorts from Nightglows 1 and 3 are underway. Let's call this Operation Hypodermic Needle. You're to inject yourself directly into Noden's doorstep. Once we reach into the 30th zone, that's when you beeline straight into the Agate Castle. We'll hold out along the outer perimeter of the castle and maintain the defensive line till the operation is complete. You're going to have 20 minutes to deal with Nodens. We've updated everyone's consoles with the latest intel about him, so you should all be as ready as you'll ever be.
What's the criterion for success? What happens if I fail?
Hey, that's not a very fun thing to think about. But I suppose we do have to consider every scenario, don't we? When it comes to that, we destroy as much as we can. Then you race out of there like there's no tomorrow, unless there might not be. As long as you're still standing, we can keep fighting. So don't die in there. You got that? Get back safe and I'll kill you.
You just penetrated the 29th defensive zone. Nightglows 2, please get in position.
Acknowledged, Master. Please proceed to the catapult.
Despite imagining you never would, you've grown so accustomed to the sight of the catapult rammed before you that it doesn't even faze you anymore. You hook in and ship rumbles slightly as the engine fires up. Keep us on course, Silos-on. I'm scared! I'm detecting a slowing of heart rate. Repeating this mantra is having a positive psychological effect. Well done!
Once you have attained proper mental space, I would recommend that you focus your full effort on completing the mission.
We have now reached the 30th defensive layer. Nightglows 2, prepare for launch. Right, let's blast off. I'll lead us to victory. Full speed ahead! I like that double layering effect of the ship. Your ship shoots out of the hangar at a virtually inconceivable speed, leaving a trail of green light in its wake. The unimaginably enormous castle fills your vision ahead, stretching seamlessly endlessly on all sides like a wall in space. Nightglows 2, keep going at that pace. We'll make sure you have an opening.
I won't let a single one of those goons get anywhere near you.
Rick and Kasuga continue to hold the enemy at bay while you advance ever forward. This is when you first notice the translucent material blanketing the castle ahead.
The castle has the same structure makeup as a Nightglows. It's best to assume it has the same regenerative powers too. You'll have to reuse the roll to cut through the field.
A large blade equipped to your spaceship begins to glow like the power of your rule. You easily cut through the barrier like scissors through cloth and continue to the target. Is this a battle sequence or is this the end of the part? Looks like it's just the end of the part. Alright, we are going to be finishing off today's episode, or today's stream, with episode 5, part 2. There is going to be a part 3 after, but that will be tomorrow. Very exciting stuff. Jumping right into it. Unlike the previous episode, we didn't accomplish too much in this first part. And again, there's just part 1. But yeah, we've reached the base, and we're gonna go actually tackle Nodens now. It's pretty much the entire gist of what happened, I believe. And it seems we all have our respective roles with the plan now. I guess this was just the planning part. We talked about how there's different node nightgowns, and we have to destroy the ones that are acting as proxies for Nodens himself. Well, we don't specifically, but rather Break and Kasuga have to, so that they can make an entryway through the 30th exposure point, something like that, or 25th one, and then we escape through the 30th. We'll have to be swift about it then, before the nightgowns encroach on us. But we seem to be able to outpace them now that with our upgrades from Kurogane. It's nice that they actually didn't forget about the giant awkward sword attached to the ship and actually made use of it. Yep. Nightglows is quickly becoming my favorite event so far. The world of the Old Ones, where the former rulers of the cosmos dwell, is a world of stars ruled by beings of chaos. Within the world exists a planet called Earth, rich with water, wherein a wise king once peacefully lived. Sorry, just gotten out in Free Comic Book Day. Hey, nice. I'm not sure when you left, but a lot has happened ever since, I'm sure. Not sure we wanted to find out, but we just initiated the plan. We found their base, and now we're initiating a plan where we're going to be perforating their forces and going directly to meet Nodens. Within the world exists a planet called Earth, which is water, wherein a wise king once peacefully lived. Yeah, it's a very ambitious event that lands on its feet with what it tries to achieve. The king's name is Nodens, recognizable by his long grayish hair and beard, and his shining silver arms, which can hold lightning itself. That's supposed to be a beard. Okay. One fateful day, Nodens was chased away from his throne and forced to seek refuge in the Dreamlands. There, in the Dream Abyss, lived shadowy demons with skin like tar, who are often used for transport and kidnapping. The wise king should have been able to subjugate them and rule these lands, but instead, he was chased even deeper into the depths of the sea. One theory is that he was banished and sealed away by a more powerful being, a being named Ku Little Little, more widely known as Cthulhu. Is that what it stands for? That's interesting. Rumor has it that Cthulhu, in his sleep, can divide and separate dreams from reality, and communicate with others telepathically. So this is the first time we're actually learning more about our Old One's exile. For every single time the Old Ones has been brought up, we haven't really gotten a glimpse of Cthulhu's, whole role in anything. But onto Nodens, who had been forcibly ceded the throne of Earth to Cthulhu, came another being. This individual, similar to Nodens in many ways, had come from a different world still. Okay, I see. So that's why he said Luke. The fairy realm of Tir na Nog. He too was known to be a wise Solemn King. Oh, I remember the name now. It's Shushalin. Shukalin? Kukulin, that's it. So yeah, grandfather Balor, father Kukulin, and then us, the exile. Grandfather Balor, the actual father Kukulin, and then Luke is us. The standing proof that Nodens was not unique in his grandeur, this king of Tir na Nog even possessed his own silver arm to match. And it was that king who... I'm not sure if this is actually going to be Kukulin though. Or if it's going to be something like Maeve. The blast of the attack rocks your ship to the core. For a moment, you're blinded by the impact. The segment of Agate Castle's outer wall directly ahead of you has more or less completely vanished, leaving the fortress inside exposed. The outer wall has been penetrated. You're now able to move into phase 3 of the operation.
Now's the time Nightglows 2. Welcome me from behind.
Ooh, serious. Bertro. Too little. Yeah, it sounds kind of like a rapper name. Roger's that. I'm going in. I won't be long. Don't leave without me. Let's finish this, once and for all. You steer your ship into the Agate Castle. So now it seems even bigger on the inside. Surprisingly, an army of night cannons are there, awaiting your arrival. Yet they make no moves toward you. Instead, they simply stare at you, and as much as they're incapable of staring with their empty faces, they otherwise remain quiet and still. Huh. Kutagani has the same arm. I don't think Nodens uses Kutagani, but okay, sure.
Cannot account for the current enemy behavior. No aggressive movements detected. Please proceed with caution regardless. The radar indicates a large void space ahead. Within it is the sole being reading on sensors as non-night count.
You guide your ship into the largest vacant space at the center of the entire structure. Therein, you see an individual casually looking up at you. He opens his arms wide with a neutral yet approachable expression on his face.
Welcome. You have finally arrived, O heir to our throne. We have been waiting for you, Luke, master of every art.
So there is a relation there with Tyrion and Lug. I saw this in a dream, but something's different.
You're right. He looks just like the Nodens I know, but something's definitely off about him. Not enough leotard black. He has the same aura and the same voice, but... something's not right. Who are you?
The king hears Cthulhu's question and smirks. Okay, so there was indeed 2 people living inside Nodens that was just separate from the black goop.
Spoiler! My name is Nuadha, a former ruler of Iron. I am the one with the silver arm who fought Belor. I am the fairy king of Tir Nog.
I thought that was Belor.
Cthulhu, what's going on here? Is that not the Nodens you've been telling us about? I don't understand. What? And? Oh, what are you even talking about? Abandon operation. I repeat, abandon operation. Get your butts out of there immediately.
Panicked, Bertro frantically breaks his orders to retreat through the intercom.
Master, we've been instructed to abandon this operation. We must turn back immediately.
Wait, I have to talk to them. Where is Nodens? And why were we welcomed here? This was not going according to plan. Abort!
Niet! You do not have permission to engage with the unknown target. I repeat, you are to evacuate the premises immediately.
Uh-oh. Even Bertro's flustered.
You are all the same. You panic and flee when faced with certain uncertainty.
Nuadha fights Belor and Luke became the king in myth. Is that how it went?
You came all this way just to meet Lord Nodens. So why not let Lord Nodens, let us, step out for a nice face-to-face?
For a moment, no one is quite able to pinpoint where these words originate from. I gotta say, Nodens, that is one crappy beard.
Welcome! You must be tired after your long and arduous trip. Huh? Who is that? They are the Lord of the Great Abyss. They are Nodens. We are the ones who speared your way to this Agate Castle. We are the ones who convinced you to come. He seems to have a few screws loose. He was so composed a moment ago. Why is he acting so strange now?
No more questions. You have no need to worry your little head anymore. You finally here. You finally finished. Oh, well, we're dying to know how we managed to lure you all this way, aren't you? Yeah! We have to get very creative. We're not allowed to leave Dreamlands, you see. If we hadn't allowed Kazuka to be captured, he might have never discovered this castle at all. But risk and reward, right?
I'm not sure
what you're getting at,
but you're really Nodens. That's good enough for me.
I don't know what you're talking about either, though. All I know is we're going to burn this castle to the ground. Are you having trouble hearing us from all the way out there? We'll keep things simple then. We've already lost. Rule of the conqueror. Rule of seizing. We who grasp the light. We who seize the light. We who hold the light and never let it go. Silver-armed abductor.
All is decided by his rule and his rule alone. Oh no, he really was a trap. I mean, it was obvious, but yeah. It's either, take the trap or die an uninitiated death of very slowly not doing anything while fighting losing battle against the Nightglows.
What? How?
All my systems are down. My power has been cut off completely.
I'm falling! Somebody help!
Captain Break! Kazuka! What happened? You hear the sound of twisting metal in the distance, echoing through the chamber. Almost simultaneously, the two signals representing your comrades disappear from your radar.
We possess the rule of seizing. We grasp at the light and bring it under command, and must do as we instruct. Whether it be machine or living being, let the cat stand in defiance of our power. We shall answer before you ask. No, we do not have a split personality. The being you spoke with prior is in fact not her, but he is both we and not we, for he is the Lord Nodens from another world.
Huh? What did he say? This is making less than sense. Nwadha is Nodens. And Lord? I'm pretty sure Nwadha is not how you pronounce it. Oh, what can you do? The Tirnanog mythology and that language in general has some pretty crazy pronunciations.
We have no need to say more. Understand, you are to be a burden to Lord Nodens no longer. Confused, are you? Allow us to bring the truth to light, then. We engrave the name of Lord Nodens unto thee. That counts. Banish him into darkness abyss and release the light. Let him be filled with madness and overcome with agony. Let him see the past heretofore denied him. Bring the recollections now before the ones who have crossed the bounds of time, space, and the greats of the deep sleep.
The castle begins to deconstruct itself into an awful swarm of nightgowns as Nodens repeats his eerie incantation. The shadowy demons begin rushing towards you. I'm gonna be swallowed up. Hey, what's that? Who are they? That is an interesting transition. What the fuck is this? Arthur. What the hell? You've never seen this place before. You've never seen that face before. Or have you? Oh, partner! Who are all these people? Some are calling your name. Why do they approach you in such an intimate manner?
Arthur!
You don't know these people, or in some cases, you don't know these versions of these people. It's as though you're staring into the eyes of strangers, and yet, at the same time, you do know them. Somehow, despite having never seen their faces before, you're overcome with an overwhelming sense of familiarity.
Arthur, Harrison.
What is this? You don't recognize these streets. You don't recognize these buildings. But you do recognize these faces. It's just like the Azazoth's fight. You're right, it is. Maybe he's tapping into our past loop memories. Or maybe he's... No, there's no way. It's our own memories, right? Oh, crap. Gotta love spam colors. Anyways, let's continue. But yeah, it's probably... I don't think Nodens... Well, I have no reason to believe Nodens has anything like a world pillar. So most likely it's somehow our past memories are being tapped in some other way. Rather than us being imposed with someone else's memories of loops past. We'll see though.
What is this?
I don't know them, but... I do? I know them, but... I don't understand. Hello, 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 hello. Oh, that's a lot. The memories come surging in. This is so cool. What does it mean, though, is the question. You feel an urge to scream well up in your chest. The wave of emotions washing over you is almost overwhelming. You've never experienced the things you just saw, yet somehow you instantly know them to be images from your past. You recognize the cityscape you've been shown, surrounded by a great wall. You know it's a battleground where 24 worlds wage war with one another. Huh. With the memories being frustrated, I don't think... Well, we'll see. We're being mobbed by both mobs and named units. Yeah. You remember the Pillars of Light, guiding outcasts from different worlds to assemble in this one location. You remember another you, who suddenly lost his memories. Recollections come rushing toward you like a flood of muddy water. You feel helpless, like you're drowning within a torrent of these phantom memories. Yet that helplessness has happiness mixed in with it too as well. Pain, but happiness too. It's a torturous current of confused and varied emotions, from which there seems to be no escape.
Hello? Are you alive? Have you gone mad yet? No matter. You're a trophy.
Ooh. Trophy, that's a word I didn't expect here in this loop.
It's only fitting for you to become a little mad, just like we have. Oh, you survived. You're a real trooper. And you're strong too.
I get it now. I used to live there, in that city. But then, where is this?
Let's explain. Do you know the many worlds theory? It's just there exists a world for every possible outcome. This is just one of those countless worlds where the grand stage for the spell has been changed to outer space.
Huh. Okay, so clarification. The game has not ended. Well, obviously, but in fact, it just does no longer matters in Tokyo. It has been taken space. I mean, it should have mattered in first place because that's Noden's end goal, right? To usurp and actually have a chance for winning the game, rather than being predetermined losers.
The moment we met that first night out at the park was the moment the world switched over and recombobulated. Those guilds, classmates, and teachers, even your would-be sworn foes, no longer exist here in this world.
So this is not another loop, necessarily? I mean, it might be, but the main thing is, it's just an alternate universe as well, too. Because at least within the continuous loops, that's still within the same universe, right? There's a continuity there. But Nodens is suggesting this is a completely different continuity, a completely different outcome of the Many Worlds theory.
None of them can make it this far. They'll perish in their great power. They didn't stand a chance, really.
Oh, he's just saying they died. Okay. Yeah, I really should just read ahead before I assume.
And why not? Well, because there is no outer space in their world. They lack the very concept of space war.
Yeah. Elaborate. This is stuff I've heard slight spoilers of already because people won't shut their fucking mouths outside of the spoiler channel, but I heard something vaguely about how there was no concept of space war, and I was curious about that.
Which is quite rich, since each and every parallel world out there has its own sky, so of course it has its own outer space too.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually mythologies are limited to the stars at best, mostly the sky and the sun, but not really space as a concept.
But when their stage changed to include that sky, they didn't know what to do. They considered us to be the losers. Truly, this is the greatest feeling that can be.
None of the mythologies had any concept of space, so none of them were prepared to handle space as a result. And now Nodens knows the greatness of strength, truly the wise man.
None of those imbeciles in Tokyo even saw it coming. The idea of an invasion from space never even crossed their minds.
It's not over yet, though. There are still survivors on the ship. We can still pull through.
Have you not already made it clear? Those who have no concept of a space war have no means to resist against her bite. The outlaw from the futuristic world of Utopia is the only exception. They understood interstellar combat.
Hence why Break and R19 and Bertro and Duo persisted. Question how Kurogane survived, but he's into space supposedly.
They couldn't repel us in the end, but their counteroffensives certainly stung. Their role, you see, was almost perfectly custom-tailored for us. The role of space defense to repel against aggressors from the cosmos. You are giving us quite the look. I possess the drive to fight back. That's fine by us. Both you and that Neolathotep truly are something else. It's only natural that we exact revenge on anyone who dares try to take the throne of Lord Nodens! Sasagua! Neolathotep! Go take care of that eyesore of a spaceship out there! In the meantime, we shall toy around with this little rascal who thinks he can steal away our throne.
I won't just let you. I'll take you down right here, right now.
You think you can beat us? Come try, then. Go on, show us what you can do. Come and have a taste of our true power of Lord Nodens.
I'm a little light of breath, light in head right now from all that voice acting. Oh man, I want to continue it. Damn it, we're stopping here though, unless there's a battle. And then the after sequence. So they had no concept of outer space, or at least no concept of space wars, and so they had no defense against it. Yeah, that tracks. All their battles have been local based on, what's called water, sky, sun, earth, all of the traditional mythological elements to be considered. Sometimes they may have had some concepts of stars, but I guess none of them had really had a proper concept of space warfare and altercations that has happened in space. Very fascinating, indeed. You're talking about rules a lot in Event, but not rules until Nodens. I mean, yeah, rules is the most practical application of actually being able to combat the Nightgowns so that they can defeat their, past loop system. Especially with our abilities, which can, sever ties to break their enforcement of their rules. But with the rules and all that, I guess it makes sense we're talking about the individual themselves rather than their powers. In this case, Nodens seems to be encompassing two people. Am I playing the music? I'm playing something like that. Two large black wings descend from Nodens' back as he takes flight. The hideous twisted wings continue to expand as they suck up the nightgowns around him in alarming numbers. From within those wings burst a seemingly infinite number of black spears, raining down on you like a storm. You skillfully evade each one, all the while searching for an opening to attack. Okay, a piano to play Big Mia. Maybe not right now. Nodens watches your desperate dance as he cracks into another long maniacal laugh.
Dance, you fool! Dance! You can't touch the ball!
I'm real good. I'm pretty good at piano. Not really good at performing piano, but I'm good with music theory and improvising piano. But when it comes to playing something consistently straight, it's not great.
We love us a good old space shooter, but boy, nothing beats quality bullet hell game. Aren't you thrilled? Dodging an endless barrage of black fire with 0 lives left. One false move and it's game over.
Reminds me of someone, actually. Wait, why is he talking about video games? Tatagwa.
Retreat, Master! Retreat! We need to remove ourselves from the enemy's attack radius! I told you had no chance! Aren't you tired of your futile struggle? Our cause isn't futile, and this fight isn't over! Oh, it's futile, right? You want to know why? To inform you, there's a rat among you. It can't be. Is it Katuga? Are you kidding? That idiot can never pull off the double agent shtick. You want to know who it is? Are you ready to find out? Well, the conniving little rat make the real. Drama, please.
I was wondering if there was a rat, but didn't see it considered a threat. It's a little salmon? No way.
Oh, that's right. We almost forgot about the contract. Silly. They won't budge unless we give them formal order. But that's an AI for you, right? Oh, this is simply too fun. Let's give them a formal order right now, shall we? They do love to serve. We command an administrative shutdown now.
Ow! Command acknowledged. Initiating systems shutdown. Oh no! Someone's betrayed us. All the lights on your dashboard suddenly go blank, and a frightening silence takes over the cockpit. The projected AI have grown familiar with the spears so completely that it is as if it had never been there in the first place. What does this mean? What does this mean? Your ship, now completely unresponsive, pivots downwards, drawn in by the gravity of the massive structure. And it's in that moment you finally come to understand everything. Your loss here has been predetermined. There was never any other way for this timeline to unfold. I suppose that makes sense. As someone who it seems to be implied that Nodens has some sort of pillar or manipulation of memories. In fact, I guess that makes sense since that was kind of the older one shtick in the first place. Being able to, what's called... Actually, let me head into the guild. But yeah, we're not going to continue episode 5 part 3 right now. We're going to finish that tomorrow. As well as the epilogue. I'll go to our guild though.
驚いてくれたかな
So, it should have been obvious, but if you think about it, he had the power, and with his rule, whatever the rule was, I already forgot the name of it, to make the past into the present through his memories. If that's the case, he should have been able to, you know, have access to all the past loops as well, in that sense, as long as he's outer space. As far as he can go back into the past, as the past becomes the present. So he then should have access to all of the previous memories of past loops as a result of that too. Which is interesting. So that's his application of his rule. It may not necessarily be a pillar, but he does have access to his past memories. And it makes sense that he's also able to tap into the entity that is Lord Solomon, an entity that existed in the past, and use them as for subterfuge to be able to sneak into our base. Actually, I forgot to stop camera seeing this, but that's fine. We'll continue. But yeah, that's very fascinating. Nodin seems to have really set up a predetermined defeat, and in a very ironic sense, truly the wise man he is to have big galaxy brain that planned so that from the get-go, even us, the player, was drawn in to believe that, you know, it was just our AI buddy being on our side because it was Lil Salman with his visage. But in reality, it was Nodin tapping into some past thing by looking at a formal entity that we had trusted in previous loops. Very fascinating. But because of that mistake that we did in trusting Lil Salman, it seems that we were determined to be defeated and lose, just like the genociders and just like the old ones. Really fascinating. If you remember, actually, now that I think about it, Lil Salman was evasive when we asked about his parents. I thought he was just being evasive of Solomon, or Solomon? Yeah, Solomon. But in reality, he may actually have been referring to Nodins. So that's why he was evasive, because he betrayed us in that sense. I'm not sure if there's any truth there to be had in terms of someone's entity actually being there and caring for us, but it does seem like it was all according to plan. Very big brain. Yeah, Nodin's big brain plan. A lot of laughing in this event. As is the case for an old ones, that's completely expected. Not from Astathos yet, though. Do another ships. Do the other ships have AIs? I don't think they do, but it's just ours that has taken the form of Lil Salmon. Thanks, R, for this stream. I'm happy to present to you a steaming hot stream like this. But yeah, that concludes this stream. I'm excited for what happens next, because this is a much more explicit cliffhanger than before. It's in the middle of an episode, but yeah. What has been achieved in this episode? Let's just quickly go in summary. So in the first episode we covered today, we went over the plan. That was pretty much it. And also we talked over with Duo about our plans to sacrifice ourselves, and it was quite heartbreaking, honestly. And it was also about chip customization as well, and practice of that. In episode 5, so far, we talked more about the plan in detail, as well as finally engaged with the massive fortress in space. And now we're learning about the entity that is, I already forgot its name, Nadhwa from the Tirana world, as well as Nodins. Apparently are one and the same entity. I don't really understand how they're the same entity, but I might want to read up on them more. And it seems that it was all according to plan for them to bait us, just like they thought that really was just bait for us to finally find their fortress. As for their intentions, I'm still not entirely sure, but Nodin's general idea seems to be to win the game, maybe? Or at least to surpass the game. And I don't really get why they were calling us, the one to ascend to the throne, but also wanted to defeat us in the same voice. Very confused by that, but we'll see. Hopefully everything wraps up nice and tidily at the end. But yeah, I am excited. Look forward to tomorrow. I am eager to see how this unfolds and it concludes. And maybe we'll even complete some special quests by then, by request. Until then, though, that will be it. Nodin's based on Nadwa, yeah. Are you? Oh, is he actually the one and the same? So it's old ones. He was written to be like Nadwa. That's interesting. I'm going to look it up. Are you including the character quests too? The character quests are if you mean the special quests, then maybe I'll do one or two by request, but the character quests are not translated, so no. Yeah, Duo got one of the best moments of the entire game. Yeah, I'm changing the thumbnail title to match that. Definitely my favorite moment of this stream. But yeah, see you guys tomorrow, same time, noon. Look forward to it, and take care. See you guys then. And see you later, cadets. We will head over to the scene. See you guys. Bye-bye.